Chapter 168. I didn't expect that a few days ago, before I even got close, I was discovered and chased by the barbarian frost wolves. Mou was also dumbfounded. This was also beyond her expectations. There were so many barbarian frost wolves in this nest. Most importantly, there were so many barbarian frost wolves expert. Evil creatures, you are courting death. A deep roar was heard as the elder riding on the tiger-lion-like barbarian beast roared. The barbarian beast roared as its huge body swooped down. Its sharp claws were like hooks, tearing the barbarian frost wolves on the ground into pieces. Bang! Bang! The huge energy shock wave blasted away a few barbarian frost wolves. The old man's expression was gloomy as well. With a wave of his hand, a surge of origin energy gushed out like a storm, causing over 10 barbaric frost wolves to be flung flying before smashing into the rocks of the cliff and transforming into a bloody mist. Human, this is the barbarian frost Grand Canyon. You are the ones courting death. The Wolf King roared. After stepping into the demon illusionary realm, it was able to speak human language. As the roar faded, the Wolf King's icy aura filled the sky. It was as though frost was falling from the sky. With a leap, it soared dozens of feet into the air. Its sharp claws were like hooks as it grabbed at the elder. Be my mount and submit to me, and I will spare your life. The elder knew that his mount wasn't a match for the Wolf King. He was afraid that it would be affected. With a roar, he soared into the sky. His fist was wrapped in Yuan Qi radiance as it collided with the Wolf King's claw. Bang! With a dull sound, the energy radiance surged along with the frost. It was as though it had caused a storm. Qi La the Wolf King was very strong, but the elder in his 50s was already at the Origin Emperor realm. He was instantly blasted back as dark red blood flowed out from his mouth. Being injured in one move, the Wolf King's fierce eyes were secretly filled with fear. I will subdue you first. JP the Elder in his 50s sneered and took the opportunity to charge at the Wolf King with a surging aura. Roar! At that moment, the dragon-like roar was heard again. It was earth-shattering and resounded throughout the land. This loud roar caused the figure of the old man in his 50s to stop as he looked at the towering mountain peak that pierced through the clouds. There was a huge cave there, surrounded by ice. Icicles hung upside down, covering the entrance of the cave. Under the flickering light, it was difficult to see clearly. Boom! As that dragon-like beast roar came out, light filled the depths of the cave, and a scorching aura swept out. In the next moment, a huge figure rushed out of the cave, bringing with it countless icicles that pierced the sky. Then, it automatically dissipated in the void. Roar! With a thunderous roar, a dragon that was dozens of feet long appeared in the sky. Its body was covered in flames, and the surrounding cold aura dissipated with its appearance. The world turned from icy cold to blazing hot. The flood dragon soared through the sky, and the surrounding flames were like waves that drowned its body. Its crimson eyes seemed to contain volcanoes, and on the head of the strange flood dragon, there were clusters of fire dancing, and its scales opened and closed. This flood dragon also had a pair of crimson wings. As it flapped, flames swept out like a volcanic eruption, covering the sky and covering the earth. Roar! When such a flood dragon appeared, the barbaric frost wolves on the ground immediately retreated with a roar, as if they could not withstand the intense heat. The eyes of the barbaric frost wolves and human experts who were fighting fiercely in the void trembled. Especially the human experts, they seemed to have sensed something, and their eyes secretly changed. The flood dragon soared through the sky, and an invisible pressure filled the air, causing the humans and barbaric frost beasts to tremble. Blazing Sky Flood Dragon, is this the Blazing Sky Flood Dragon? Su-Yi was shocked, and his eyes could not help but tremble. Such a sky-blazing dragon was definitely not inferior to the aura of the Demon Emperor Realm experts that he had encountered with the 9 Lives Demon Cat. It did not look like a 9th-level Demon Void stage expert, nor did it look like it was on its last breath. Oh no, This blazing sky flood dragon has broken through to the Demon Emperor stage. Almost at the same time, Mou's shocked voice could not help but sound out. Her gaze was even more shocked than Su Yi's. Didn't you say this blazing sky flood dragon was on its last breath? Su Yi turned to glare at Mou. This woman really did not speak the truth. Fortunately, the experts of the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance suddenly appeared. Otherwise, he would be miserable now. I don't know why, but I'm sure this blazing sky flood dragon was heavily injured by flying tiger Qingjian not long ago. Mou was serious. She absolutely did not conceal this point. Didn't you not know that guy? Su Yi rolled his eyes at Mou. I really don't know him. I only know he's from the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance, and I know his name. This person has quite a reputation in the barbaric demon forest. Mou said. Qingjian, you still dare to come to my abode? This time, you're courting death. In the sky, the blazing sky flood dragon spoke to Qingjian. His voice was low and deep, and it was as deafening as a dragon's roar. Looking at the blazing sky flood dragon, Qingjian's gaze was also secretly astonished. He said, I didn't expect you to actually escape this calamity and take the opportunity to break through to the Demon Emperor realm. I still have to thank you, but you're dead today. The blazing sky flood dragon coldly stared at Qingjian. Is that so? You should have just broken through not long ago. It seems like you haven't even passed the form transformation calamity. I think you're still going to die today. Qingjian spoke. Looking at the blazing sky flood dragon, he seemed to be secretly vigilant. He lightly raised his hand, and a 7-feet-long spear suddenly appeared in his hand. This spear was not an ordinary object. It was covered in a red radiance, and a fierce aura swept out from the spear, shaking the surrounding void. Although I've just stepped into the Demon Emperor realm, it's more than enough to deal with you. You're courting death. Looking at Qingjian, the blazing sky flood dragon roared, as if he didn't want to waste any time. After a low roar, his wings flapped, and a monstrous flame spread out from his body. In the end, it formed a wave of fire, and poured toward Qingjian with an earth-shattering force. The wave of fire seemed to cover half of the sky, and the terrible heat caused the surrounding void to emit white smoke. This high temperature made Su Yi and Mou, who were hiding behind the rock, feel the terrible heat. The hair on their bodies stood on end. So powerful! Their eyes trembled, and their throats were boiling. The blazing sky flood dragon had such a terrible momentum as soon as he attacked. Evil creature! Qingjian roared. On the surface of his body, a layer of Yuan Qi light shield covered him, and the spear in his hand shone brightly. In the next moment, Qingjian's figure did not retreat. Instead, a great aura surged. With a flick of his spear, light gushed out, and a crack was torn open in the monstrous flame pouring toward the blazing sky flood dragon. Roar! Seeing Qingjian coming, the blazing sky flood dragon roared in a low voice. From his ferocious mouth, a crimson flame light column spurted out and collided with Qingjian's spear. Such a collision instantly exploded in midair. Chapter 169. Boom! At the same time that the blazing energy swept out, Qingjian made his move once again. The profound qi beneath his feet seemed to have formed a cloud that rotated at the bottom of his feet. His figure also transformed into a bolt of lightning, instantly crossing the surging energy. After that, he appeared in front of the blazing sky dragon, and the long spear in his hand swiftly pierced out. Whoosh! In front of the spear, there was a blazing flame that swept out. It was like a fire dragon spewing flames. The terrifying blazing energy burned the void. Facing such an attack, the blazing sky dragon's fierce eyes darkened. Blazing smoke filled its nostrils. With a deep groan, its huge tail swept out. The blazing sky dragon's huge body was incomparably agile as it directly collided with the spear. Clang clang, The spear and the blazing sky dragon's huge tail collided. Sparks flew out from the scales of the blazing sky dragon's huge tail, and the crisp sound of metal clashing resounded in the air. Wherever the spear passed, it only left a shallow grayish-white mark on the scales of the blazing sky dragon. This mark only existed for a moment before it completely disappeared. The blazing sky dragon did not seem to be afraid of Qing Jian's attack at all. The ferocious dragon beast suddenly raised its head and opened its mouth to spit out a bloody tongue. A blazing flame rapidly spewed out from its mouth. The blazing flame caused Qing Jian's expression to darken. Open! Slightly frowning, Qing Jian waved his sleeve, and a surge of yuan qi energy turned into a handprint that was pushed out. Like a hurricane, it scattered the blazing flame. Seeing that this attack was ineffective, the blazing sky dragon did not seem to care. Its giant tail moved horizontally, and its eyes suddenly shone brightly. The scales on the giant tail opened and opened like countless sharp blades, emitting a whistling sound that pierced through the air, and suddenly swept towards Qing Jian. It seemed that it was too late for Qing Jian to retreat. Looking at the blazing sky dragon's attack, the fire attribute yuan qi in front of him condensed into a light shield that blocked in front of him. Crack! The huge tail swung horizontally on the fire attribute yuan qi light shield. Immediately, many small cracks appeared on the light shield. With a cracking sound, it turned into flames that filled the sky. Fire dance wild dragon! A loud shout came from Qing Jian's mouth. The spear in his hand was resplendent as if something had been awakened. A monstrous blazing aura erupted. From afar, this attack was like an awakened fire dragon that charged towards the blazing sky dragon with a powerful aura. Roar! The sky-scorching dragon roared angrily. The aura on his body was monstrous, and waves of fire were released from his body. In the sky, as the blazing sky flood dragon and Qing Jian fought, the surrounding experts of the Berserk Dragon Mercenary Alliance and many experts of the Barbarian Frost Wolves started fighting again. Rumble, for a moment, the fierce battle. The most intense battle was naturally between Qing Jian and the blazing sky flood dragon. The blazing sky dragon's body. Although the sky-blazing dragon had just broken through to the demon royal realm, his attack was powerful and unstoppable. Although Qing Jian seemed to be constantly retreating, he didn't seem to have the upper hand. After all, the blazing sky dragon had been in the Yuan Emperor realm for some time. His aura was steady. Although he didn't seem to have the upper hand, he didn't fall into a disadvantageous position either. Looking at the scene of the fierce battle, the roars of the beasts were like thunder, and their auras were monstrous. Su-yi was secretly speechless. Especially the fierce battle between the blazing sky dragon and Qing Jian. Just the energy ripples that swept out were enough to prevent Yuan Zhen realm cultivators from being affected. This is troublesome. The strength of both sides is about the same. I'm afraid it will be difficult to determine the winner in a short time. Even if the winner is determined, if they don't have any special trump cards, I'm afraid both sides will suffer. Mou stared at the battle in the sky and carefully sized it up. She said to Su-yi, "It will be difficult to determine the winner in a short time." Su-yi looked at the battlefield. The two sides were locked in a fierce battle. His eyes flickered as if he was deciding on something, but he couldn't make a decision. "What are you thinking about?" Mou asked when she noticed Su-yi's expression. "Wealth comes from danger. Let's take a gamble." Su-yi suddenly looked up. His eyes were filled with light as if he had made a decision. He looked at Mou and asked, "Are you interested in going to the blazing sky dragon's lair? If you are lucky, you might be able to gain something." "What? You want to go to the blazing sky dragon's lair now?" Hearing Su-yi's words, Mou couldn't help but be stunned. The blazing sky dragon was right in front of him, and there were so many ice barbaric wolves nearby. Wasn't this courting death? There must be no other barbaric beasts in the blazing sky dragon's lair now. The bold ones are full, and the cowardly ones are starved to death. Sui laughed mischievously. His eyes flickered. Sui didn't want to get the blazing sky dragon's monster core. However, it was said that the blazing sky dragon liked to collect treasures. Naturally, it would hide in its lair. At this moment, the blazing sky dragon and Qing Jian were locked in a fierce battle. Sui thought that if he could sneak in and everything went smoothly, it would be the safest. Wealth comes from danger. As soon as he finished speaking, Sui immediately crawled out. He completely concealed his aura and walked toward the blazing sky dragon's lair on the mountain peak. This guy is really bold. Interesting. Mou was stunned. Then, her eyes flickered. Her eyes were filled with light. She smiled and no longer focused. There was a sly glint in the depths of her eyes. Rumble! The battle around them was earth-shattering. The air was scorching hot. Below them, there was a bone-chilling aura. This part of the world was suddenly filled with thunderous beast roars. Muffled sounds kept exploding. The earth shook and the mountains shook. The energy wind swept in all directions. Sui carefully hid in the bushes and crevices of the rock. He walked toward the entrance of the cave on the mountain peak. Mou followed behind Sui. Her aura was completely concealed. Just like this, the two small figures shuttled to the mountain peak. They were really not noticed. The closer they got to the entrance of the cave, the colder the temperature became. Not a single blade of grass grew in the surroundings. The ground and rocks were covered with ice that was hard to melt. Sui did not dare to use his yuan qi. He was afraid that if he leaked a trace of his aura, even if the blazing sky dragon was fighting fiercely, it would be enough to discover him immediately. Fortunately, Sui's physical strength was not small. His 5 fingers were like knives. He was able to leave shallow marks on the hard ice. He did not slide down. He slowly crawled up. Mou's hands and feet were slippery. It was difficult for her to move forward. After seeing Sui's movements, her eyes secretly moved. She imitated him and was able to follow closely behind. The fierce battle in the distance was incomparably fierce. No one would have thought that 2 small figures would sneak into the cave. I'm in. Sui finally climbed into the cave by clinging onto an icicle that had already been broken by the impact. Huff huff. His eyebrows were covered with frost. This ice aura was not small. However, Sui did not dare to use his yuan qi to resist the cold. Chapter 170. If he didn't have the diamond body of the mixed yuan demon body, Sui wouldn't have been able to get close to this place. This cave was the habitat of a pack of frost barbaric wolves. The surrounding ice had already reached a point where it was difficult to thaw. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to get close at all. They would be frozen into ice from a distance. Quickly go in. I'll take you to find the treasure. Hurry up. Mou also climbed into the cave. Her dress fluttered in the wind, and her skin flashed with a white and translucent light. Her eyes were quick-witted, revealing a bit of craftiness. At this moment, she lost some of her otherworldly temperament and looked more like a witch. I'm the one who brought you here. Sui rolled his eyes. Fortunately, his luck was good and he didn't take the risk to barge in. Otherwise, he would be in trouble today. It doesn't matter if you brought me here or I brought you here. Right now, Qing Jian is fighting with the blazing sky flood dragon. We don't have much time. Quickly find the treasure and take it. Otherwise, whether Qing Jian or the blazing sky flood dragon finds us, we're dead. Mou's face carried a smile. Clearly, she took advantage of the fierce battle to secretly find the treasure. However, she said it in a serious manner, like a female bodhisattva. You're even more shameless than me. Sui was speechless. This woman was even more shameless than him. However, she was right. They had to hurry up. The two didn't dare to delay. They immediately went deeper into the cave. This cave was unknown how long it was. It was surrounded by thick ice. Many icicles hung upside down in the cave, emitting light. In the thick ice, they could occasionally see many white bones. It made their hair stand on end. This isn't normal. The blazing sky flood dragon is a fire-type, barbaric beast. This cave is really not suitable for its nest. Sui frowned. Although this cave was big enough, it was too cold. The deeper they went, the colder it became. So cold. Mou was already shivering from the cold. She didn't dare to use her xianqi to resist the cold. She hugged her arms and shivered. Mou secretly glanced at Sui from time to time. She was secretly puzzled. This guy's cultivation was obviously lower than hers, but he didn't seem to be cold at all. This guy isn't simple, Mou thought. This was enough to prove that this guy's body wasn't simple. After an unknown amount of time, the ice in the cave suddenly became thinner and thinner. The icy aura seemed to have weakened all of a sudden. While Sui was astonished, the ice around the cave had completely dissipated after 1,000 feet. There is no more ice. In front of them was a slanted cave that seemed to go deep into the mountain. It appeared in front of Sui and Mou's eyes. The entrance of the cave was pitch black, but a scorching aura was faintly emitted from it. Is it a volcano? Sui frowned inwardly. Back then, when he was in the barbaric demon forest looking for a volcano to cultivate his diamond body, his first reaction was that there might be a volcano hidden in the belly of this mountain. Let's go down and take a look. This cave is cold on the outside and hot on the inside. It is quite suitable for the blazing sky flood dragon to use as its lair, Mou said. Her eyebrows were slightly raised, and there was a bit of excitement in her eyes. At the very least, this proved that this was the nest of the blazing sky flood dragon. At the same time, a light flashed through Mou's eyes. She knew her true purpose for coming here. If the rumors were true, then this time, he was really going to get a great opportunity. Let's go in. Sui did not hesitate too much. Since they had already taken the risk to come here, there was no reason not to go in. The two carefully entered the cave. There was no more ice inside, so it was dark. The entire cave was pitch black and incomparably deep. It was terrifying. In this kind of deep darkness, even though Sui and Mou were cultivators and their eyesight was much better than ordinary people, it was still difficult for them to see. Fortunately, in the depths of the cave, there was a flickering light from nowhere, allowing Sui and Mou to go deeper. Inside the cave, it was dead silent. There was no sound at all. It was so quiet that even the sound of a heartbeat could be heard clearly. As they went deeper into the cave, the aura inside became hotter and hotter. After going a few thousand feet deep, in the end, the blazing aura made Sui and Mou sweat profusely. Bean-sized drops of sweat flowed down their cheeks, wetting their clothes. Suddenly, Mou screamed and retracted her hand that was holding the rock. The temperature of the rock was unbearable for her. Sui turned around and warned Mou to be careful with his eyes. Sui could still withstand this temperature. After all, he was someone who had tempered his body with volcanoes. A scale of a flood dragon. Suddenly, Sui found a palm-sized scale. It looked like pure gold and was incomparably hard. It was the scale of the blazing sky flood dragon. It must have fallen off from it. The scale of a demon emperor stage blazing sky flood dragon was very valuable and could be considered a treasure. It was the favorite of those refiners, and it was enough to refine some good weapons, armors, and so on. Sui was not polite. He immediately put the scale of the blazing sky flood dragon into his space bag. Is there anything else? After more than 10 steps, Sui picked up another scale of the blazing sky flood dragon. The terrain ahead was getting wider and wider, and the temperature was getting higher and higher. The rocks on the surrounding rock walls also gradually turned into a crimson color, shining brightly in the surroundings. ZX knew most of fast up %. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Mou was panting. Her hair was drenched in sweat, and her face was flushed red. Hula, she really couldn't take it anymore. Mou released the yuan qi in her body, and a faint blood-colored yuan qi fluctuated on the surface of her body. Instantly, the blazing aura was dispelled and she felt much better. Be careful. Sui frowned. Fortunately, he didn't encounter any barbaric beasts in the cave. Otherwise, once he used his yuan qi, he would be immediately detected. The terrain was flat and they were no longer deep. This place seemed to have reached the depths of the mountain. There was a different world inside, as if there was a world of its own. There's fire! The temperature rose and it was incomparably hot. On the rocks and walls, there were flashes of fire from time to time. Sui also started to use his yuan qi. It was really too hot. Otherwise, the soles of his shoes and clothes would have burst into flames. Look, suddenly, Mou exclaimed and couldn't help but open her mouth. Su Yi's gaze was already fixed in front of him, and it fluctuated violently. At this moment, in front of him, there was light everywhere, flickering with all kinds of radiance. There was a rich energy fluctuation. In the depths of the scorching ground, there was a pile of yuan stones of various attributes piled up into a small mountain. They emitted light and energy fluctuations. There were also many weapons. Some of them were flickering with mysterious runes and emitting a fierce aura. They didn't seem to be ordinary weapons. In the flickering light, many strange objects were piled up together. Flaming diamond. Green hellish iron. Heavenly ice rock. This seems to be the horn of the berserk, single-horned demonic bull. Chapter 171. Sui was also surprised. This pile of strange objects, none of them were simple, but they were all refining treasures. Flame diamond, green hell iron, berserk one-horned demonic bull's horn, they were all absolute treasures for refining weapons, priceless. Although the pile of primordial stones were all one-star primordial stones. But Sui estimated that this pile of primordial stones was at least a few 100,000. There was also a pile of weapons, at least 100 of them. These weapons were not ordinary weapons, but treasures that had reached the level of primordial weapons. The most common weapons used by martial artists were called primordial weapons, and they were made of steel. In this world, there were weapons that surpassed primordial weapons, and they were made by powerful refiners. The levels of weapons were divided into primordial weapons, dark weapons, spirit weapons, Tao weapons, magic weapons, and then sacred weapons. It was rumored that divine weapons once existed in this world, but no one had ever seen it with their own eyes. It was said that even the legendary 7th-grade refiners were unable to refine divine weapons, and even sacred weapons were difficult to refine. Moreover, 7th-grade refiners were the same as 7th-grade alchemists, which only existed in legends. The materials to refine sacred weapons were also only in legend. Dark weapons, refined by refiners, were not on the same level as primordial weapons. Walala, Sui was still in shock, but Mou had already made her move. Without saying a word, she opened the space bag and collected the refining materials. Sui was stunned and his eyes were a little dazed. Looking at this woman's posture, this was definitely not the first time. Instantly, Sui opened the space bag, and his left and right hands moved together, first collecting the pile of weapons, then pouncing towards the pile of primordial stones. He could not let the woman take advantage of him. Quickly give me a few space bags, and let's finish this quickly. After collecting these treasures, we have to leave immediately, Mou said to Sui. She only had one space bag on her, and it was returned by Sui. The space of a space bag was limited, and Mou was not like Sui at this moment. She had a lot of space bags on her. Let me do this kind of physical work. How can I let a girl do it? Sui said, but his hands did not slow down at all. He was stuffing the pile of primordial stones into his space bag. Naturally, he would not give the space bag to Mou. Alright, thank you for your hard work. I'll see if there's anything else. Mou didn't seem to care. A light flashed in her eyes. She moved to the side as if she was really searching for something. Su-yi was also secretly surprised that this woman actually trusted him so much. Su-yi's first instinct told him that something was amiss. Logically speaking, although they had agreed on a 40-60 split, with this woman's temperament, she would not be so unguarded against him. Su-yi pondered, but he did not stop what he was doing. As he stuffed the origin stones into his interspatial bag, he secretly paid attention to Moyu. Before entering the lair of the blazing sky flood dragon, Su-yi felt that Moyu was not telling the truth. She was definitely hiding something from him. She clearly knew that there was no hope for the beast core, so she came for the treasure. However, at this moment, Moyu did not show any interest in the origin stones and other treasures of the blazing sky flood dragon. This made Su-yi feel strange. This cave was very big. There were volcanic rocks everywhere, emitting an incomparably hot aura. Moyu carefully looked around as if she was searching for something. In the depths of the cave there was a shallow pit. There was a faint flame in the air, as if it came from the depths of the ground. In the shallow pit, there was an oval-shaped egg about the size of a baby. This egg was very special. It was filled with a red radiance and was covered with mysterious patterns. This egg was burned by the flames in the pit, but there were no cracks. Instead, it was emitting a red radiance. It flashed as if it was absorbing the flames. This is it. I found it. When Moyu saw this oval-shaped egg, her face immediately revealed an excited expression. She was about to carry the oval-shaped egg out. What's this? At this moment, Su-yi suddenly appeared and blocked in front of Moyu. Su-yi was secretly watching Moyu's every move. At this moment, looking at Moyu's expression, Su-yi guessed that this was Moyu's true goal. Seeing Su-yi staring at her, Moyu knew that she could not hide it anymore. She said, "A blazing sky flood dragon's egg." A blazing sky flood dragon's egg. Su-yi had already guessed that this was the lair of the blazing sky flood dragon. This egg was filled with an extraordinary aura. It could only be the egg of the blazing sky flood dragon. That's your real goal. Looking at Moyu, Su-yi frowned. If a blazing sky flood dragon's egg bred a blazing sky flood dragon's baby, its value would be immeasurable. I just came to try my luck. I didn't expect there to be one. Moyu looked at the egg in front of her with her big beautiful eyes. She was a little excited. She did not expect there to be a blazing sky flood dragon's egg. She continued to say to Su-yi, "A blazing sky flood dragon's egg is very likely to breed a blazing sky flood dragon's baby. However, the blazing sky flood dragon has already broken through to the demon emperor realm. If we take its egg, I'm afraid it will hunt us down." Moyu was a little afraid. After all, the blazing sky flood dragon had already stepped into the demon emperor realm. It was not a small matter. Taking its egg would undoubtedly make the blazing sky flood dragon extremely furious. Once they were chased by the demon emperor realm blazing sky flood dragon, they would not be able to escape. "Anyway, it's already here," Su-yi whispered. His eyes were already fixed on the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. He secretly revealed a blazing expression. They had already taken the treasure. Once the blazing sky flood dragon found it, it would not let it go. 3Z's head be hair. All along, Su-yi had been dreaming of having a majestic savage beast as a mount. When he saw the blazing sky flood dragon's egg, Su-yi's eyes immediately lit up. If he could have a savage beast like the blazing sky flood dragon as a mount, how majestic would that be? Come! In for a penny, in for a pound. With a stride, Su-yi immediately rushed up. Yuan Qi filled the air and shook off the flames on the ground. He held the egg in his arms. Su-yi originally thought that the egg would be incomparably hot after being burned by the fire. He was prepared to use his Yuan Qi to protect his body. However, when the egg fell into his hands, Su-yi was slightly surprised. The egg was crimson red and overflowed with light. However, it was as cool as the clouds. He could not feel the heat at all. Moyu was moved. She was still a little hesitant. She did not expect that guy to directly take the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. Her expression immediately darkened. Mou secretly gritted her teeth and said to Sui in a hurry, "Let's go. We have to leave this place as soon as possible." Sui nodded. They had already obtained the blazing sky flood dragon's egg and the treasure. If they did not leave now, when would they? The sooner they left, the better. Chapter 172. Crack crack. Suddenly, just as Sui picked up the egg of the blazing sky flood dragon and was about to leave, the sound of a turtle cracking came from the shallow pit. The ground began to crack, and the flames that spread out became even more intense. The blazing aura became more and more intense. Crack 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 crack. At this moment, the entire underground cave seemed to have been pulled by something. One crack after another spread out from the shallow pit where Sui had just taken the blazing sky flood dragon egg. It followed the ground to the rock walls, and even the ceiling of the cave began to crack. Walala, flames whizzed out from the densely packed cracks in the ground. They gathered together and immediately surged. In the blink of an eye, crimson-red liquid began to bubble out of the shallow pit. Under such a high temperature, Sui and Mou's skin began to burn painfully. "What's going on?" Mou's expression changed. All of this happened too quickly. The entire underground cave was on the verge of collapsing, as if it was about to collapse. At this moment, Sui's gaze suddenly turned towards the shallow pit. For some reason, he felt a chill run down his spine, and his heart trembled. There seemed to be something inside that was about to crawl out. Walala! The bubbling bright red liquid suddenly exploded. The hot liquid splashed out like magma. Soon after, a frightening flame directly spat out. It seemed to cover the sky and the earth. In an instant, it covered this large deep hole. "Run, we're in big trouble now." Mou's expression also turned serious, revealing a shocked expression. That is, Sui's eyes were wide open, and within the flames that erupted, there seemed to be a small figure that appeared, its entire body wrapped in magma-like flames. Swish, very quickly, that small figure appeared. The magma receded, and it was the size of a rooster. It had a long neck and a sharp mouth. There seemed to be a ball of flesh on its head, like a chicken's comb. It had a scarlet gold color, a sharp mouth, and round eyes. They were black and bright, but they carried a kind of light. There were small ears behind its eyes, but they were covered by fur. It had a pair of short legs with 5 claws, and a pair of short wings with a layer of fluffy feathers that were scarlet red in color. A rooster. Sui was dumbfounded. He rubbed his eyes with all his might, as if he couldn't believe it. However, the result was still the same. Sui was not mistaken. What emerged from the underground flames was a rooster, and it was a featherless rooster that only had 2 or 3 feathers covering its body. A rooster emerged from the ground. This caused Sui to be dumbfounded. "What is that?" "A chicken." Mou also saw the rooster. She was also stunned. She couldn't believe that a rooster had crawled out of the underground fire. "It seems like a turkey." Sui was stunned. He held the blazing sky flood dragon's egg in his arms and stared blankly. He wondered how the chicken would taste after being roasted in the fire. Sizzle, however, Sui's thoughts were in vain. The rooster emerged, flapping its wings, shaking off the flames on its body. Immediately, its small body ran directly towards Sui and Mou. This rooster walked, its tail raised up and down, and it even brought along a trail of sparks. It looked quite interesting. "It's burning me to death, run, run!" This rooster ran while shouting as if its butt was on fire. Its voice was very pleasant, and its pair of golden claws were very sharp. When it landed, it even dug a hole. "This turkey can talk." Sui and Mou looked at each other, dumbfounded again. At this moment, this rooster was not speaking beast language, but human language. "Run!" Sui immediately shouted in a low voice. Without any hesitation, He held the blazing sky flood dragon's egg in his arms and ran away immediately. A talking rooster, that was at least a demonic illusory realm barbaric beast. Mou also did not hesitate, she directly followed Sui and ran toward the road they came from. Whoosh, this chicken's tail followed behind Sui and Mou, flapping its pathetic-looking fleshy wings. Sparks flew everywhere, but behind it, flames and magma surged even more fiercely, filling the deep cave with high temperature. "Hey, human, give me a ride, I don't have any strength left." That rooster saw Sui and Mou, and shouted at Sui and Mou as it ran. Rumble. The entire deep cave was also cracking, and some rocks began to fall, and some rocks began to turn into powder under the high temperature. That rooster is catching up. This cave seems to be collapsing. Sui and Mou ran, and their expressions changed greatly. Not only was that inexplicable rooster chasing after them, the cave was also shaking, as if it was about to collapse. Soon, Sui and Mou went up the deep cave, and reached the cave passage. Behind them, surging flames and magma had already rushed out, as if they were going to engulf everything. The terrifying heat made one's soul shrink. The cave was also shaking, and the ice that was originally difficult to melt in front of them was quickly melting under the high temperature. Out of nowhere, many frost brute wolf pups ran out, and there were at least 100 of them. These frost brute wolf pups seemed to have sensed something, and they howled incessantly. Their eyes were filled with fear, and they quickly ran out of the cave, completely ignoring Sui and Mou. "Quick, run quickly!" As Sui ran, he put the 1,000-pound broken sword on his back into his space bag, and immediately felt as light as a swallow. "What are you doing?" Just as Sui was about to put the blazing sky flood dragon's egg into his space bag, Mou looked at Sui in shock and asked, "Put it away?" "Put it away. If the blazing sky dragon outside sees it, we'll be in trouble," Sui said to Mou and put the blazing sky dragon's egg into his interspatial bag. If the blazing sky flood dragon outside saw him holding the egg, Sui didn't need to think to know that even 10 lives wouldn't be enough for the blazing sky flood dragon to kill him. "Stop, you can't put living things in a space bag, and this egg is most likely alive. Do you want to kill it?" Mou glared at Sui. If it weren't for the fact that they were still running for their lives, she probably would have kicked him already. "Really?" Sui was stunned. He really didn't know. However, regardless of whether this woman was telling the truth or not, Sui didn't dare to take the risk at this moment. "Human, I really can't run anymore. Give me a ride." The rooster behind them seemed to have no strength left. It was running away with all its strength with its tail between its legs, and its appearance was quite amusing. "Run." Sui didn't want to come into contact with a rooster of unknown origin that might be at the demon illusionary realm or above. Behind them, there was still a monstrous explosion of lava. This cave was probably going to collapse, so Sui increased his speed. Taking off the 1,000-pound broken sword on his back, Sui's speed also increased dramatically. Originally, Sui's speed was a bit slower than Mou's. Now that he was as light as a swallow, and with the addition of the rising Yao's 100 transformation steps, he immediately caught up. Chapter 173. Bang Bang! Oh! The fierce battle outside continued. Low sonic booms resounded, and the roars of beasts were like thunder. Resplendent origin chi rays interweaved and bloomed in the air. The battle between Qing Jian and the blazing sky flood dragon was also locked in a stalemate. Qing Jian's hair was already disheveled, and a few cracks had appeared on the scales on the blazing sky flood dragon's body. Rumble! Suddenly, the towering mountain peak shook with a rumble, and an aura shook heaven and earth for no reason. The barbarian frost wolves and the blazing sky flood dragon, who were fighting fiercely, felt the commotion at the first moment and were immediately alarmed. That kind of vibration affected heaven and earth for no reason, causing Qing Jian and the other experts of the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance to raise their heads and look into the distance. Aolo, gee, the commotion in the four-way canyon alarmed all the beasts. The roars of beasts came from afar, and there were ferocious beasts galloping, leaping and galloping between the mountains and valleys. There were ferocious birds flapping their wings and flying through the air. All the beasts were startled, and they rushed in panic with great momentum. Aolo, Aolo, the wolves howled incessantly, and a large group of barbarian frost wolves immediately rushed out from the rumbling cave on the mountain peak. Bang, bang, bang! One by one, the barbarian frost wolf pups lost their heads out of fear and rushed down. Some of the wolf pups even tumbled down the frozen mountain path. Aolo, the barbarian frost wolves raised their heads and roared. Immediately, many barbarian frost wolves rushed forward to protect their cubs. The blazing sky flood dragon's huge body retreated and stopped attacking Qing Jian. It looked at the cave, and the gaze in its fierce eyes suddenly changed. It immediately rushed towards the mountain peak. Quick, restrain your aura and hide among these barbarian frost wolves. The moment Su-Yi rushed out of the cave with the blazing sky flood dragon's egg, he immediately retracted his aura. His figure followed the galloping barbarian frost wolves and slid down the icy mountain path. Mo's eyes moved, and she was secretly surprised. She followed Su-Yi's actions and followed closely behind. There were many barbarian frost wolf pups. Although they were pups, many of them were much larger than Su-Yi and Mou. Coupled with this sort of chaos and shocking unexpected event, it was sufficient for Su-Yi and Mou to hide within this large expanse of barbaric frost wolf cubs. Roar! The sky blaze flood dragon roared with an anxious expression and a serious expression. It flew over the heads of Su-Yi, Mou, and the others, and charged explosively into the cave. Su-Yi slid down the icy mountain path. After passing the area covered in ice, he didn't dare to continue. Many barbarian frost wolves had already pounced on him. This way, Su-Yi said to Mou, and immediately rolled, taking advantage of the opportunity to land between the craggy boulders. Mou followed, but her movements weren't as practiced as Su-Yi's. She seemed to be in a very sorry state and almost crashed into a huge rock. Rumble! The entire majestic mountain was already shaking, and small rocks began to roll down from the top. Walala, rolling magma overflowed from within the cave. Flames swept through the air and poured down from the sky. Wherever they passed, rocks would be instantly burned into nothingness. The volcano has already erupted. This is bad, let's leave quickly. Su-Yi cried out in alarm. If they were to be submerged in this volcanic magma, even 10 lives wouldn't be enough to kill them. He immediately shuttled through the cracks between the craggy rocks and ran in the opposite direction of the barbarian frost wolves and the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance. At this moment, in this tense atmosphere, Mou completely followed behind Su-Yi and didn't say anything. Rumble, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. A large amount of magma had already poured down, and it was as if a rainstorm was falling from the sky. This part of the world suddenly became violent, and the rolling magma that soared into the sky turned into a lava flow that surged out. There were volcanic clouds that reached the sky, causing lightning to flash and thunder to roll. Rumble, huge forked lightning converged into a thunderbolt, accompanied by raging flames and lava, engulfing everything. Such a terrifying scene was shocking and astonishing. The blazing high temperature caused raging flames to appear in the air for no reason. Starting from the entrance of the cave, a sea of fire could be seen flowing across the sky. Rumble, the crazy waves of fire suddenly swept in all directions, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws as they attacked and poured down in all directions. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. Not good, we're in big trouble. Everything happened too quickly. Su-Yi quickly retreated, but he didn't have enough time to escape. Screech! At this moment, a cry resounded. The fiery savage bird rushed over and swooped down. The beast language fell into Su Yi's ears. Sir, danger, come up quickly. Fiery savage bird. Su Yi revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. He didn't expect the fiery savage bird to suddenly appear. Whoosh! Taking advantage of the fiery savage bird's dive, Su Yi's profound chi surged under his feet and he immediately jumped up. Holding the egg in one hand and the feathers on the back of the fiery savage bird with the other, Su Yi jumped onto the back of the fiery savage bird. Whoosh! Mou also jumped onto the back of the fiery savage bird. Her posture was much more graceful and beautiful than Su Yi's. WQ, wait for me, give me a ride. The bald turkey suddenly jumped out of nowhere and seemed to have been following behind Su Yi and Mou. At this moment, it flapped its pair of short, fluffy wings and landed directly on the back of the fiery savage bird. Its 5 claws tightly held onto the fiery savage bird's feathers. Although the fiery savage bird was surprised to see a bald turkey, it still thought that it was with Su Yi. There was no time at all, so it immediately spread its wings and flew away. Su Yi and Mou looked at each other in horror. They didn't expect that this bald turkey would come uninvited and directly come up. Su Yi and Mou couldn't help but be afraid of such a talking turkey. They were secretly vigilant. Su Yi subconsciously hugged the blazing sky dragon egg in his arms a little tighter. Rumble! Bang! 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 The majestic mountain peak completely exploded. Amidst the flashes of lightning and the rumbling of thunder, rolling lava spewed out along with monstrous flames. The huge rumbling sound pressed down on the surrounding layers of the void. The erupting lava smashed down the mountain peak's rocks, pushed them high into the sky and then fell back down. It left behind thousands of fiery red streaks in the smoke-covered sky and scattered into the distance. The entire huge mountain peak also collapsed. A large number of huge rocks poured down with a rumbling sound. That kind of shock was hard to describe with words. Awoo! This was a devastating disaster. Many of the barbarian frost wolves that couldn't escape in time were swept up by the lava and turned into ashes in an instant. Some of the barbarian frost wolves didn't even have time to scream before they were swallowed by the lava. At this moment, the experts of the Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance had no choice but to retreat under this volcanic eruption. Their eyes were filled with shock. What a terrifying volcanic eruption! It's beyond ordinary. That terrifying movement made Mou, who was standing on the back of the fiery savage bird, tremble. This doesn't seem normal. Chapter 174. The bald chicken looked at the erupting volcano behind it. It flapped its wings and patted its chest with one of its fleshy wings. Its eyes were wide open, and it looked like it had a lingering fear. It kept muttering, "Scared me to death, scared me to death." Luckily, roar, Su Yi didn't have the time to pay attention to this uninvited bald chicken. Magma erupted from the collapsed mountain, and flames surged into the sky. The enormous figure of the blazing sky flood dragon roared furiously, its voice shaking the heaven and earth. "Quick, dodge," Su Yi said to the blazing sky flood dragon. He couldn't let the blazing sky flood dragon discover that he had stolen the egg. The surrounding beasts were alarmed and ferocious birds filled the sky. No one noticed Su Yi and Mou on the blazing sky flood dragon. "Humans, you are too shameless. I'm not done with you." An astonishing voice spread out amidst the lightning and thunder. For some reason, the blazing sky flood dragon in the distance charged towards the Wild Dragon mercenary group like it had gone mad. Qing Jian was secretly shocked. He didn't know why the blazing sky flood dragon suddenly went berserk. The others weren't a match for the blazing sky flood dragon and immediately rushed to stop it. Rumble! The volcano erupted not far away, shaking the surroundings. Bang bang! The battle between Qing Jian and the blazing sky flood dragon instantly intensified. Roar! When the experts among the frost barbarian wolves saw so many of their cubs and tribesmen drowning in the magma and died, they seemed to have blamed the wild dragon mercenary group for it and charged out as well. In the distance, Su-yi didn't dare to stay any longer. While trembling with fear, he ordered the blazing sky flood dragon to stay as far away as possible. The sounds in the distance were getting softer and softer, but Su-yi was still worried. After 2 hours, he ordered the blazing sky flood dragon to find a hidden place to rest. "They will find us." In a hidden cave in a valley, the blazing sky flood dragon said to Su-yi, telling Su-yi not to worry. The blazing sky flood dragon and the golden python would find this place. Huff, Su-yi took a deep breath. He cut a sorry figure. His hair was disheveled, and there was still lingering fear in his heart. Originally, with the threat of the blazing sky flood dragon, Su-yi was already nervous enough after stealing the treasure and obtaining the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. Who would have thought that they would encounter such a situation in the end? It was simply frightening. Fortunately, the fiery savage bird had arrived in time. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Mou's current situation was not much better than Su-yi's. Her hair was disheveled and her beautiful face was filled with shock. "What is this place? You guys sure have guts, daring to steal the eggs of that big snake." The bald turkey collapsed on the ground, but her eyes were fixed on the egg in Su-yi's arms. Her eyes darted around. "Who are you?" Su-yi and Mou asked almost simultaneously. At that moment, the two of them were also staring at the bald chicken. This turkey that could speak the human language had a mysterious origin. It had been following them all this time, making Su-yi and Mou worried and vigilant. The blazing sky flood dragon withdrew its wings and curiously sized up the bald turkey. There was a strange look in its eyes, as if it could vaguely feel something and did not dare to approach it. "Who am I? Who am I?" Hearing this, the bald turkey muttered to itself. It did not know why, but its eyes became blank, as if it had really forgotten who it was. Looking at the bald turkey's reaction, Su-yi and Mou were secretly surprised. Could it be that the bald turkey had lost its memory? "Did you lose your memory?" Su-yi looked at the bald turkey. Being able to speak the human language proved that this turkey was not simple. It was at least a demon illusionary stage barbaric beast. How could a demon illusionary stage expert lose its memory just like that? "It's not memory loss, I can't remember. It seems like something very big happened. When I woke up, I met you." The bald turkey looked at Su-yi and Mou. Its eyes were a little hazy. "Have you reached the demon illusionary stage?" Su-yi raised his eyebrows. Looking at the bald turkey's reaction, it did not seem like it was lying. "I don't know. My cultivation seems to have disappeared. I don't remember anything." The bald turkey was at a loss. It lowered its head slightly, as if it was trying to think of something, hoping to remember something. Su-yi and Mou exchanged a look, not daring to be careless. Su-yi had to be on guard against this uninvited bald turkey. However, looking at the way it escaped from the mountain peak, Su-yi guessed that this bald turkey did not seem like a demon illusionary stage expert. Perhaps its cultivation had regressed. "I really can't remember. Don't think about it." After a moment, the bald turkey shook its head. It looked at Su-yi and Mou with a smile, and finally stared at the blazing sky flood dragon egg that Su-yi was holding. Its voice was clear and melodious, but it was clear that it was a male voice. It said, "But I feel that if I eat this egg, it should be beneficial to my recovery." As it spoke, the bald turkey looked at the blazing sky flood dragon egg in Su-yi's arms. Its sharp mouth was almost drooling. "This is mine." Su-yi stared at the bald turkey and hugged the egg a little tighter. This bald turkey actually had ideas about the blazing sky flood dragon egg. "This is that big snake's egg, right? You stole it. Believe me, this egg will definitely taste good. Let's eat it together. If that big snake finds out that its egg is in your hands, then the consequences, hee hee." The bald chicken looked at Su-yi and laughed. Saliva dripped from its mouth, and its eyes darted around. Its sharp mouth was smiling like a human. Even though it was smiling, the threat was self-evident. Sue stared at the bald turkey and couldn't help but think of a word, and that was despicable. It was clearly a bald chicken, but it gave Sue a feeling of despicable despicableness. However, the bald turkey called the blazing sky flood dragon a big snake, which made Sue secretly vigilant. Hairless turkey, where did you come from? Mou opened her mouth and asked the bald turkey, frowning. You're the chicken. I'm a peacock, not a chicken. The bald turkey's sneaky eyes suddenly darkened as it glared at Mou. You are a peacock. Mou was stunned, and so was Sue. Sue had never seen a peacock before, but he had heard of it in both his previous and current life. Li knew 1J max C% fast OBP, especially in this world. Peacocks were legendary existences that stood at the pinnacle of the demon clan. It was said that no trace of the peacock clan could be found anymore. There were even rumors that it was impossible for peacocks to exist in this world. It was rumored that the peacock race had long disappeared from ancient times. Haha, after being stunned for a moment, Mou couldn't help but giggle. She pointed at the bald chicken and said, You, peacock, with your appearance, you can't even compare to a rooster, hee hee. Chapter 175. Who are you calling ugly? Mou immediately stared at the bald turkey. Although her face was a bit disheveled, her eyebrows were curved and her eyes were big and beautiful. Her temperament was outstanding. Although she was only 15 or 16 years old, she was already tall and slender. Her figure was exquisite and curvaceous. She was simply a peerless beauty. She was as beautiful as a fairy. Sometimes she was pure and sometimes she was tempting like a witch. Ugly really had nothing to do with her. Look at you. Your waist is so small, your butt is so small. Fortunately, I'm not a human. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't look at a woman like you. The bald turkey pointed at Mou. Her short wings were pointing up and down. She looked very old and serious. Ha 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 ha, Sue couldn't help but laugh. He didn't expect this woman to be despised by a bald turkey. Looking at the bald turkey's appearance, Sue couldn't help but laugh. Rolling her eyes at Sue, Mou's lips curled up. Her beautiful eyes were already burning with anger. She glared at the bald turkey and said, You bald turkey, believe it or not, I'll roast you and eat you. I'll say it again. I'm a peacock. Being called a turkey, and a bald turkey at that, the bald turkey's face couldn't help but darken. She clenched her teeth and looked like she was going to bite someone. Is a peacock like you? You're worse than a rooster. Even if you were a rooster, I'm afraid no hen would look at you with your appearance. Mou put her hands on her hips. She was actually called ugly by a bald turkey. Her waist wasn't big enough and her butt was too small. Was this bald turkey blind? A big waist and a big butt? How ugly would that be? She didn't dare to imagine. Ignorant human. The bald turkey shook her head. She looked at Sue and said, Young man, is this woman your wife? How could you be with this kind of woman? Divorce her. This woman's mouth is poisonous and ugly. She's not worthy of you. She'll lower your temperament. I'll find you a beautiful one later. This, she is not my wife. Sue was happy. This chicken really had good eyesight, knowing that his temperament was outstanding. However, if this woman was his wife, Sue thought about it and decided to forget about it. Bald chicken, you're dead. Mou finally couldn't take it anymore. This chicken actually dared to talk about her like that. Moreover, how was she not a match for that young man? She even lowered her temperament. She didn't say anything else. This was something that no woman could tolerate. Boom. Mou directly made his move. His aura surged, and his palm directly shot towards the bald turkey. Waves of yuan qi swept towards the bald turkey. Women are indeed unreasonable. The bald turkey shouted, and at the same time flapped its wings. That seemingly short body of the turkey fled very quickly, and in a way, it just happened to dodge Mou's palm. "Today, I will definitely barbecue you." Mou was furious. Her lovable face flipped out, and her tall and slender body twisted, revealing her curves. She once again raised her hand, and her 10 slender fingers spread out. Yuan Qi emitted from her fingertips, and a blood-red radiance was emitted. The radiance filled the air, and directly enveloped the bald turkey. "You can't do anything to an origin profound realm woman. You're so ugly and so fierce, I'm afraid that no one will want you in this lifetime." The bald turkey's expression changed. It flapped its wings and continuously retreated, but its mouth was unforgiving. "Damned bald chicken!" Mou was so angry that her cheeks flushed red. She bit her red lips, and rays of light gushed out from her body. Her hair fluttered in the wind, and her eyes were fixed on the bald turkey. "Don't hurt the innocent." Sui retreated. He couldn't let the innocent be hurt, and his gaze secretly changed. He secretly sized up Mou and the bald turkey's strength. Mou was very strong, but she still hadn't reached the origin spirit realm. H original initials are. Hair 5 BSUE estimated that Mou's cultivation should be around the 7th or 8th level of the origin profound realm. This mysterious bald turkey, who called itself a peacock, could speak the human language. This was the mark of a demonic illusionary beast expert. But now Sui felt that the bald turkey, who called itself a peacock, could only hide. It looked very miserable, and was relying on its speed and unusual transformations to make Mou helpless. It didn't have any trace of an expert's temperament. Sui also felt that this bald turkey didn't seem to be pretending. If it was really a demonic beast expert, then no one would pretend to be this miserable bald turkey. But because of this, Sui was even more confused about the origins of this bald turkey that could speak the human language. It seemed even more strange and mysterious. The blazing savage bird had also retreated to Sui's side. It was also secretly dumbfounded by the battle between Mou and the bald turkey. But at this moment, the blazing savage bird was only cautious, afraid that the battle between the bald turkey and Mou would hurt Sui. Rumble! Mou seemed to be really angry. She didn't show any mercy as she chased after the bald turkey around the cave. But the cave wasn't big, so Mou couldn't use her full strength. The bald turkey's body was very small. Even though its wings were small, they flapped very quickly. It fled around the cave, leaving Mou helpless. But it was becoming more and more miserable. "Woman, I was wrong, okay? You're the most beautiful, and you have a kind heart. You're the symbol of beauty, okay?" As if it felt Mou's anger and became more and more miserable, the bald turkey changed its tone and began to admit defeat. "Don't talk nonsense. You're just a featherless chicken with a cheap mouth. Today I'll roast you and eat chicken legs." Mou refused to give up. She was still angry. "Young man, talk to your woman. You know you're not safe yet. If you attract that big snake and it knows you stole its eggs, you'll be dead." The bald turkey fled as it spoke to Sui. "Forget it, we're not safe yet." Sui's expression changed as he said to Mou. The bald turkey was right. This place wasn't necessarily safe. If they made too much noise with the blazing sky flood dragon's strength, they would be easily discovered. Humph! Mou slowly withdrew her aura and the blood aura on her body faded. She glared at the bald turkey and suppressed her anger. She was indeed afraid of attracting the blazing sky flood dragon. "Awo! My lord! My lord, are you all right?" At this time, the hell rat, white jade mystic bird, silver spirit butterfly, scarlet flame demon mink, Debao, Xiaoling, and the others found this place and entered the cave. The fire-eyed tiger, golden python, and the others were outside the cave. The cave couldn't accommodate their size. "I'm fine." Seeing that the scarlet flame demon mink and the others were safe, Sui felt relieved. But when they saw the bald turkey in the cave, the scarlet flame demon mink and the others were astonished. Phew, I'm so tired. Chapter 176. I'm going out to scout the situation. Mou glared at the bald turkey. She walked out of the cave with her graceful figure and anger still lingering on her face. Sui didn't say anything. In any case, the most valuable item was the blazing sky flood dragon egg. He wasn't afraid that Mou would leave. She left? That woman is too irritable. The bald chicken watched Mou leave. His beady eyes rolled as if he was relieved. He looked at Sui and said, "Young man, I'm telling you, this woman has a small waist and a small butt. She's not easy to give birth to, and she has such a bad temper. You should think twice." Sui rolled his eyes. This bald turkey's mouth was really cheap. No wonder Mou wanted to roast it. Oh right, you seem to know the language of beasts. I remember that a long time ago there were experts who knew the language of beasts. The bald turkey looked at the fiery red marten and the others. Immediately after, he looked pensive as if he was trying to remember something. However, the bald turkey didn't succeed. He couldn't remember anything. He looked at the scarlet flame bewitching sable and the others. At first, he didn't think much of it, but then his expression changed. He looked at the scarlet flame bewitching sable and the others. He couldn't help but be shocked as he said, "Hey, they don't seem ordinary. This kind of aura shouldn't appear on these bloodlines. It's impossible." "Master, is this a chicken?" Debao and Xiao Ling climbed onto Su Yi's arm. They raised their little heads and looked at the bald turkey curiously. "Have you seen such a beautiful chicken?" The bald turkey stared at Big Bao and Little Ling angrily. It wanted to explain, but when it looked at itself, it immediately pulled a long face. It couldn't even look at itself. "Ai," the bald turkey sighed. He was very depressed and didn't say anything. Not long after, Mou came back. She was carrying several chickens. Yes, they were chickens. Each of them weighed no less than 20 jin. They were very big and had colorful feathers. "My luck isn't bad," Mou said, glaring fiercely at the bald broiler. "Stew it in soup and roast it in a delicious way. It's good for healing injuries." Holding the jade spirit chicken in her hand, Mou stared fiercely at the bald broiler. "Is there anything to eat?" The bald turkey didn't care. His eyes shined. "Come, help." Mou called Sui to help pluck the feathers. There was no pot to stew them. She could only roast them. It didn't take long for Mou to roast the 6 jade spirit chickens that had been stripped of their feathers. Their bodies were sparkling and translucent, and they emitted a fragrant glow. Su Yi's eyes moved. He was no stranger to barbecue in his previous life, but he didn't expect Mou to be so special. Not long after, the roasted meat began to sizzle. Drops of meat oil slowly slid down the chicken's skin that had already begun to burn, and the aroma of meat permeated the air. The aroma of this jade spirit chicken was too special. Su Yi's gluttony was aroused. He couldn't help but swallow. Debao, Xiao Ling, and the Hellrat raised their heads. They didn't seem to have much resistance in front of this aroma. "Is it cooked? Can we eat it?" The bald chicken was already waiting in front of Mou. Licking its face, it spoke to her intimately. "Do you want to eat your own kind? After all, you're all chickens." Mou looked at the bald turkey indifferently. "No, I'm really a peacock. This chicken has nothing to do with me." The bald turkey laughed. Saliva was already dripping all over the ground. "Okay, we can eat now." In a moment, all the jade spirit chickens were cooked. The aroma filled the cave. "Do you want to try some?" Mou said to Sui. She had already torn off a large drumstick and started munching on it. Suddenly, her beautiful face and curvaceous figure looked completely out of place. Sui was originally hesitant. He had to be on guard. This woman was not ordinary. It was better to be on guard. It would be bad if Mou secretly drugged him. But the jade spirit chicken in front of him was cleaned by him. He also saw Mou roasting it right under his nose. There shouldn't be any problems. Moreover, Sui knew that Mo didn't have any knockout drugs or poison on her. The spatial bag was something he had returned to her. He had already searched it carefully. He had also been with Mo for the past few days. So, it shouldn't be possible for her to drug him. First shot. It's not for you. Go away. Suddenly, Mo shouted softly and stood in front of the bald chicken to block its path. It turned out that the bald turkey was about to do it, but was stopped by Mo. Just give me one. You're roasting it so fragrant that I'm almost drooling. The bald turkey looked at Mo with a pitiful expression. Didn't you say I was ugly? Mo glared at the bald turkey. Her anger hadn't subsided. No, I was blind. I was jealous of your beauty. In fact, you're devastatingly beautiful. You're as beautiful as a fairy. You're the most beautiful human being. You're the embodiment of beauty. This little brat isn't worthy of you. He's the one standing next to you, which affects your temperament and beauty. The bald turkey's face was serious, but its eyes were glued to the jade spirit chicken. Hearing this, Sui glared at the bald turkey. This bald turkey really was despicable. That's more like it. I'll forgive you for now. Mo's lips curled up. She tossed a whole chicken to the bald turkey. I knew you were the most beautiful. The bald turkey couldn't wait any longer. Although its wings were small, it directly caught the jade spirit chicken, which was who knows how many times larger. It immediately began to eat. Delicious, really delicious. As it gnawed, it said, not greasy, not smelly, crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, delicious on the inside. It has a unique flavor. Sui finally couldn't hold it in any longer. He tore off 2 chicken wings and gave them to Debeo and Xiao Ling, who were on his shoulders. He didn't care about how hot it was and took a big bite. It had been a long time since he ate like this. Not bad, Sui couldn't help but sigh in admiration. He didn't know if it was Mo's cooking skill or the jade spirit chicken's meat that was good. The chicken meat was hot and bubbling, and its aroma overflowed. It was as if it was naturally delicious. As soon as the chicken entered his mouth, it was tender, smooth, and crispy. In an instant, Sui's mouth began to dance. The fragrance of the meat reached the tip of his tongue. Thank you for saving us this time. Give me one as well. Mo handed one to the blazing savage. If it weren't for the blazing savage, everyone would have been in trouble. The blazing savage looked at Sui, waiting for Sui to speak. Try it. It's not bad. Sui nodded. Seeing Sui nod, the blazing savage had been holding back its saliva for a long time. It immediately didn't hold back. You guys try some too, but don't eat too much. Chapter 177. Whoa, it smells so good. The golden python, flame-eyed barbaric tiger, and the others had never eaten a roasted jade spirit chicken before. They immediately shared it outside the cave. But with their appetites, even though the jade spirit chicken was not small, it was only enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. The bald chicken, on the other hand, was holding a jade spirit chicken that was several times bigger than itself, and eating heartily, not caring about its image at all. From afar, a bald chicken was holding a roasted chicken and gnawing on it. This was very surprising. 2 chicken wings were also swallowed by Debeo and Xiao Ling in one gulp. It was hard to imagine how these 2 little things swallowed them. Their small bodies seemed to have a separate space, and there was no trace of them at all. Looking at Debeo and Xiao Ling's eager eyes, Sui had no choice but to tear 2 more pieces for the 2 little guys. Sui did not hold back and wolfed down the rest of the jade spirit chicken. So full, so delicious, the bald chicken actually finished the entire jade spirit chicken faster than Sui. Its small belly was so full that it almost fell to the ground. Its entire body seemed to have doubled in size, and its short wings flapped its round belly as it burped non-stop. It was hard to imagine how it managed to stuff a jade spirit chicken that was even bigger than itself into its stomach. Sui was also very full. It had been a long time since he had eaten like this. More importantly, this jade spirit chicken was just as Mou had said. Eating it had great benefits. Sui could clearly feel that the chicken in his stomach contained traces of energy that spread throughout his body. This energy was very gentle, as if it could nourish his bones, muscles, and limbs. It made him feel warm. Am I really full? Why do I feel so dizzy? The bald chicken's body began to sway. It wanted to slap its head, but its wings were too short. Before it could finish its sentence, it fell to the ground. Why am I dizzy too? Before Debao could finish speaking, it fell from Suyi's shoulder, followed by Xiaoling. Sui also felt dizzy and groggy. Oh no! Sui was shocked. He looked at Mou, and his vision started to blur. In his line of sight, Sui saw a smile on Mou's face. The corners of her lips curled up as if everything was within her expectations. I'm so dizzy. Outside the cave, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the other barbaric demon beasts slowly fell to the ground and fainted. Sui circulated his energy, wanting to resist. The primordial origin supreme technique immediately circulated, and the art of heaven controlling in his mind activated, wanting to keep his soul awake. But it seemed to be too late. Sui was getting dizzier and dizzier. His vision was hazy and his eyelids couldn't help but overlap. Then, he fell to the ground. Inside the cave, only Mou was completely unaffected. She had a triumphant smile on her face. When Sui woke up, his head was still dizzy, but his consciousness was clear. However, his body was limp and he couldn't summon any strength. Sui opened his eyes and looked at the cave. There was no trace of Mou in the cave. Oh no, the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. Sui's first reaction was to look for the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. 4% in new chapter, it's gone. Just as Sui predicted, the blazing sky flood dragon's egg was indeed gone. It had disappeared without a trace like Mou. It was no longer in the cave. Inside the cave, Debao, Xiaoling, the silver spirit butterfly, and the hell rat were still lying on the ground, unconscious. I was tricked. There was something strange about the jade spirit chicken. Sui was absent-minded. He thought that there must be something strange about the jade spirit chicken. Maybe it was drugged by Mou. At this moment, he was the only one awake. With the hell rat and the silver spirit butterfly's cultivation, they ate the least amount of jade spirit chicken, but they were still lying on the ground. Sui guessed that it was because he had used the art of driving the heavens and the origin supreme art at the last moment. Sui wanted to get up, but his body wouldn't listen to him. After a while, he barely had enough strength to sit up. Save me, save me! Suddenly, a cry for help sounded. Sui looked toward the source of the voice and was stunned. In the corner of the cave, the jade spirit chicken was roasting on the bonfire, but now, flames were roaring. As for the bald chicken, its wings were wrapped by a special kind of tree vine, and it was being burned on the bonfire. Help! Who can save me? The bald chicken shouted at the top of its lungs. It seemed that its body was powerless. Its voice wasn't loud, and it didn't have any strength left. When the bald chicken saw that Sui was awake, it immediately asked for help from Sui. Young man, help me. It must be that woman. There's something strange about the jade spirit chicken. We were tricked. I also know that there's something strange about the jade spirit chicken. Sui raised his eyebrows. At this moment, he wanted to chase after the blazing sky flood dragon's egg, but he didn't have any strength left. He didn't need to guess to know that the woman had been holding back a bellyful of evil. Her goal was the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. You save me first, I'm about to be roasted. The bald chicken cried for help, and tears almost flowed out of its eyes. Sui rolled his eyes at the bald chicken. Although it was being roasted on the bonfire, nothing happened to it. Even the layer of feathers on its body didn't fall off. The fire didn't seem to have any effect on it. Checking his body, Sui found that there was nothing wrong with his body. It was just that he couldn't muster any strength. Moreover, all his space bags were still there, not a single one was missing. This surprised Sui. That woman seemed to have only taken the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. "Young man, hurry up and save me." Seeing that Sui wasn't moving, the bald chicken was very depressed and kept crying for help. "Why should I save you?" Sui said indifferently. He was depressed. If he didn't eat the jade spirit chicken, how could that woman have the opportunity to take the blazing sky flood dragon's egg? Although he didn't lose any of his space bags, it seemed that Mou had found her conscience. However, Sui knew that the things in his Chinquan bag weren't even 1,000th of the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. If it wasn't for the fiery savage bird, that woman would have been buried in the volcanic eruption. Sui guessed that the woman must have found her conscience, which was why she didn't want to take his space bag anymore. Chapter 178. The bald chicken said all of this in one breath. "You have a point." Sui nodded, almost convinced. "You have to admit that I have a point. Then save me. I'm a peacock. How could that woman be willing to burn a peacock to death? She's crazy." The bald chicken felt very aggrieved. It was a peacock, but now it was tied to the bonfire. That woman was crazy. You can't beat that woman. You keep saying you're a peacock, but what part of you looks like the legendary peacock? And now you're tied up and being roasted. What's the point of saving you? Sui couldn't help but be on guard against this bald chicken of unknown origin. He had already been tricked by that woman once. He couldn't afford to be tricked by this bald chicken again. The corners of Sui's mouth curled up into a smile. He looked at the bald chicken and continued, "Besides, if you're really a peacock, you should taste pretty good after being roasted. I also want to know what a peacock tastes like." "You actually want to eat a peacock?" The bald chicken stared blankly. Its small eyes stared at Sui as if they were about to pop out. Then it shook its head and sighed. Public morals degenerate with each passing day. 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 "Tell me, where are you from?" Sui rolled his eyes. To run into a bald chicken like this was truly a marvel. "I'm really a peacock." The bald chicken felt wronged. It was a magnificent peacock, and yet it was tied to a bonfire. It was probably the first peacock of its kind. "If you're a peacock, then why are you like this? Why can't you beat that woman?" Sui laughed coldly. He couldn't help but be suspicious. "I don't know how I ended up like this. I really can't remember." The bald chicken laughed bitterly. Sui frowned and looked at the bald chicken. He really didn't know if he should trust it or not. "Young man, be kind to others. You saved me today, so you've formed a good karma with me. When I recover, I'll repay you generously," the bald chicken said to Sui. Sui looked at the bald chicken and hesitated. It wasn't that Sui wanted the bald chicken's reward, and he didn't believe that the bald chicken would reward him in any way. Although the origin of this bald chicken was mysterious, it was very strange. However, it was enough to prove that he was extraordinary. At the very least, he would not be simple. In the end, Sui decided to help the bald chicken. After all, the fire wouldn't do any harm to it. He was afraid that it wouldn't take long for it to recover its strength. Then, it wouldn't be able to restrain the bald chicken. Slowly getting up, Sui untied the bald chicken. "You're insane. I won't let that woman get away with it. I said that woman is too vicious." Nothing is more vicious than a woman's heart. The bald chicken sat paralyzed on the ground. His whole body was powerless, but his mouth kept on cursing. Sui ignored the bald chicken and forced himself to sit cross-legged. He circulated the Origin Supreme technique and began to regulate his breathing to recover. Following the circulation of Yuan Qi in his body, Su-Yi clearly felt that wherever the Yuan Qi passed, the feeling of powerlessness in his body slowly disappeared. Everything was returning to normal. An hour later, the silver spirit butterfly, hell rodent, and fiery-eyed barbaric tiger woke up one after another. They were also powerless and immediately began to circulate their energy to recover. The bald chicken stopped muttering and closed his eyes. His body emitted a kind of light that was like a divine radiance. His aura fluctuated. It didn't take long for Su-Yi to fully recover. The feeling of powerlessness in his body was completely expelled. Feeling the profound energy in the profound energy vortex in his dantian, Su-Yi was slightly surprised. He didn't know if it was the effect of the jade spirit chicken, but the profound energy in Su-Yi's body increased by a lot. He had made some progress in the first layer of the Yuan profound realm. Su-Yi stood up. The silver spirit butterfly and the others were still recovering in the cave. Debao and Xiao Ling had yet to wake up and were still unconscious. Worried about the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the others outside the cave, Su-Yi left the cave. The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, snow jade barbaric ape, and golden python were also recovering. It seemed like they still needed some time to recover. Outside the cave, Su-Yi took the opportunity to check out the situation. Standing at a high place, Su-Yi looked around. The eruption of the volcano had spread in all directions. He could still see thick smoke billowing out. A blazing aura spread out from afar. Thick volcanic ash floated in the air. A wu beast roars could be heard from the surrounding mountains and valleys. Vicious birds spread their wings in the sky. Many barbaric beasts appeared and flew in all directions as if they were searching for something. Something doesn't seem right. Su-Yi used the mountain rocks to hide his body and retracted his aura. He frowned. Although the eruption of the volcano and the battle of the blazing sky flood dragon had a huge impact, it shouldn't have caused such a huge commotion. It seemed like thousands of beasts were rioting. Swoosh, swoosh, suddenly, a barbaric beast that was dozens of feet long crawled out from the bottom of the mountain. It was a huge lizard barbaric beast. It was extremely fast and appeared in front of Su-Yi in an instant. The lizard barbaric beast's eyes shone. It flicked its tongue and let out a hissing sound. Its huge tail swayed left and right, shattering the surrounding mountain rocks. A woo! Looking at Su-Yi, the lizard barbaric beast let out a bloodthirsty hiss. Its eyes were ferocious. Another human. Go to hell. However, Su-Yi could understand the beast's language when it reached Su-Yi's ears. It seems to be looking for humans. Su-Yi's eyes moved. He wasn't in a hurry to escape. The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the others in the cave were still recovering. This was a diamond demonic lizard. Judging from its aura, it was around the 6th level of the demon profound realm. It wasn't enough to make Su-Yi run away. When he was at the 9th level of the soul essence realm, Su-Yi couldn't escape from a barbaric beast at the 3rd or 4th level of the demon profound realm. Now that Su-Yi was at the 1st level of the profound origin realm, he could test himself. Swish, swish. Just as Su-Yi was pondering, the diamond demonic lizard moved. It flicked its tongue out like a long whip filled with the smell of blood, sweeping towards Su-Yi. This tongue was even faster than a long whip. Especially the smell of blood, it was nauseating. Swish. The long tongue drew an arc in the air as it swept out. Su-Yi had been secretly vigilant. However, he was shocked by the diamond demonic lizard's speed. Boom. At this moment, Yuan Qi gushed out from Su-Yi's feet. He executed the Fuyao 100 transformation steps and quickly dodged the diamond demonic lizard's attack. Just as Su-Yi dodged the attack, he suddenly felt a sharp chill behind his back. A terrifying aura swept across. The diamond demonic lizard's huge tail was like a long spear. Overlord Fist. Without any hesitation, Su-Yi turned around and clenched his fist. The Overlord fist covered his fist with a thick layer of light. Boom. Chapter 179. Bang! As the two collided, a thunderous sound rang out in the air. Crack, crack, light waves surged into the sky, and cracks spread out in all directions. The diamond demonic lizard's tail was blown away, and its huge body staggered back a few steps. Where its feet landed, the rocks on the ground turned into dust. Su Yi's body sank. The diamond demonic lizard's huge tail fell, and the huge impact caused its feet to sink into the ground. Woo! The diamond demonic lizard let out a woo sound, as if it had suffered a loss. Its eyes became even more ferocious, and in an instant, it pounced towards Su Yi. Swish! Its body leaped out, and the powerful claw under its abdomen emitted a light. Its aura was sharp, and it slammed down towards Su Yi. Swish! His feet sank into the ground, and his body became sluggish. Su Yi's eyes darkened, and he immediately took out the saber on his back. Furious Dragon Slash! He roared in his heart, and there was no pause. Su Yi activated the saber art in his hand, and the Yuan Qi in his body rapidly surged in his meridians. It gathered and flowed in the special meridians, and finally gathered on the saber. Genuine version buzz. In an instant, the saber seemed to resonate with the faint roar of a dragon, like wind and thunder. Swish! The saber light was resplendent, and this saber landed with an incomparably ferocious stance. Kacha, a fierce and ferocious aura erupted, and the saber force was like wind and thunder. As the Kacha sound spread in the air, the diamond demonic lizard's powerful claw was left with a bloody mark. Thud thud! Su Yi was blown away by a huge force. Borrowing the force of the recoil, Su Yi took advantage of it and flew away. Woo! The diamond demonic lizard was in pain, and a wound appeared on its claw. However, the wound wasn't too deep, and only left a shallow scar. The diamond demonic lizard was known for its thick skin, and its defensive power was not ordinary. At this moment, if others saw that Su Yi was able to injure the diamond demonic lizard, who was at the 6th level of the demon profound realm, with his cultivation at the 1st level of the Yuan profound realm, they would be dumbfounded. Walala, with its sharp claws injured, the diamond demon lizard's eyes turned red, and it went berserk. Its huge tail was like a hook that spun and stabbed towards Su Yi once again. Tyrannosaurus Tornado Slash. Although Su Yi was pushed back, he did not dodge. Just as the hook-like tail was about to descend, Yuan energy surged in his meridians and gathered on the blade once again, causing the blade to tremble. The second move of the Mad Dragon's 3 blades, the Berserk Dragon Tornado Chop, was in Su Yi's hands. Whoosh! The saber light spun, bringing with it light like an electric arc. It was like a crescent moon streaking across the void, bringing with it a faint shadow of light, like the shadow of a dragon flashing by. Boom! This slash contained a terrifying pressure that was fierce and violent. Sand and pebbles flew in all directions like a dancing dragon. Spatial defense. Dang, dang, dang! In an instant, the blade light and the giant tail of the diamond demonic lizard collided, causing sparks to fly and strong winds to shoot out in all directions, causing the surrounding sand and stones to fly and the ground to crack. Whoa! The diamond demon lizard screamed miserably as blood flowed out from the tip of its tail. A small fist-sized wound exploded, as if its tail was about to be cut off. Su Yi was not in a good state either. He was sent flying by the huge force and heavily smashed onto the ground. Su Yi could not help but spit out a trace of blood from the corner of his mouth as the blood in his body churned. The blade in his hand also had several cuts, and the blade was curled up. His defense is really strong. Su Yi was secretly shocked. He did not expect the skin of the diamond demon lizard to be so thick, even the blade was curled up. Although this was not a treasured blade, it was still forged from refined steel. This was enough to prove how strong the defense of the diamond demon lizard was. Whoa! The diamond demon lizard roared. Its eyes were ferocious as it looked at Sui, its eyes filled with bloody killing intent. It did not dare to casually approach, but it waited for an opportunity to stare at the side, not intending to leave. Staring at the diamond demon lizard's reaction, Sui's eyes darkened. At this moment, there was no place for him to retreat. The silver spirit demonic butterfly, golden python, and the others were still recovering. There were barbaric demon beasts everywhere. It would be even more dangerous if he attracted the attention of other barbaric demon beasts. Although he injured the diamond demon lizard, its injuries did not seem to be too serious. He was also injured. With his cultivation at the first level of the profound origin stage, Sui felt that it would be difficult to kill the diamond demon lizard even if he fought with his life on the line. I can only give it a try like this. Sui raised his eyebrows and made a decision in his heart. Then, he closed his eyes and a strange hand seal condensed in his hand. Sizzle, as the hand seal condensed, the air around Sui fluctuated, as if there was a light flickering out. When the diamond demon lizard saw Sui's actions, it felt strange. Its ferocious eyes flickered as it paced back and forth. It wanted to go forward, but it was afraid. Sui's hand seals continued to condense. Traces of crimson energy fluctuations began to appear in the surrounding space. The traces of crimson energy condensed together and became hotter and hotter. In the end, it seemed to have transformed into a fireball in front of Sui. Roar! The diamond demon lizard seemed to have sensed that something was wrong and finally could not hold back. Its ferocious eyes turned ferocious as it roared. Its body emitted a faint black light as the smell of blood assailed the nostrils from its bloody mouth. In an instant, it leaped out and charged towards Sui. At the same time, Sui's face turned pale as he condensed his last hand seal. Roar! Suddenly, a thunderous tiger roar rang out from the fireball-like blazing energy condensed in front of Sui. The light fluctuation was like an eruption of raging flames. Immediately, a several feet long flaming big tiger shadow violently charged out. This flaming big tiger was like a real thing. Its entire body was crimson red, and there was a king symbol on its forehead. The giant tiger shadow looked covetously as if it was about to pounce. Its eyes were blazing, as if it contained a sea of fire. It was ferocious and ferocious. Roar! When such a flaming big tiger shadow appeared, the clouds in all directions moved as a powerful aura swept out. Terrifying flames swept out like a storm, causing the mountain to turn into a sea of fire as the temperature rose. At this moment, the diamond demon lizard seemed to have sensed something. Its expression changed drastically as it pounced forward. Its ferocious eyes surged with fear and shock. However, it was too late. The two collided in an instant. Bang bang! An astonishing energy sonic boom immediately swept out and then exploded. Flames swept out in all directions, accompanied by a strange energy that rushed out in all directions. Rumble! The mountain collapsed as monstrous flames exploded like a bomb. A blazing aura swept out. Roar roar! Chapter 180. Bang, bang, bang. Following which, a monstrous flame surged as the huge body of the diamond demonic lizard crashed heavily onto the ground. Its body was charred black, as if its skin and flesh had been directly burned away. Fresh blood dripped from its body. It was a tragic sight. For some reason, its eyes were dull as if it had lost its mind. Sui felt powerless and his face was as pale as ash. Looking at the diamond demonic lizard that had fallen to the ground, he did not hold back the last bit of energy in his body as he immediately rushed forward. Swish! The blade in his hand had already been reversed. When Sui reached the side of the diamond demonic lizard, a Yuan soldier-level treasured blade appeared in his hand from the spatial bag. He jumped down and ruthlessly stabbed the blade into the middle of the lizard's brows, instantly disappearing into the hilt. Swish! The middle of the diamond demonic lizard's brows exploded and blood gushed out. Immediately, the light in its eyes dimmed and slowly closed. Its aura stagnated and its vitality faded away. "Oh, my lord!" Several huge figures rushed over at this moment. In midair, there were birds spreading their wings. It was the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the golden python that had arrived. "What's going on? Why is there such a big commotion?" A crisp voice was heard as a bald chicken walked out from among the beasts with its tail between its legs. It was that bald chicken. At this moment, the bald chicken walked out and sized up the diamond demonic lizard with its small eyes. Then, it stuck its head out and looked around. Its nose seemed to be trying to sniff something. Then, it looked at Sui and said in shock, "The aura of a remnant soul, fire attribute. Young man, you're actually a soul controller." Pulling out the blade, the blood of the diamond demonic lizard spurted out from the middle of its brows. Sui landed and looked at the bald chicken in front of him. This guy seemed to have recovered quite quickly. It could actually sense his identity as a soul controller. "Is it that difficult to be a soul controller?" Suyi's mouth twitched as he smiled faintly and stuffed a yuan qi recovery elixir into his mouth. When facing the diamond demonic lizard just now, although he relied on his strength as a soul controller to heavily injure it and kill it, whether it was yuan qi or soul power, Sui had been exhausted. Hearing this, the bald chicken was very depressed and rolled its small eyes at Sui. In its memory, soul controller masters were 1 in a million. They were even rarer than those rare alchemists and weapon refiners. "You killed this little snake by yourself?" The bald chicken stared at the diamond demonic lizard in front of it. It knew a little about Suyi's cultivation base. However, this barbaric demonic beast was at least at the 6th or 7th level of the demon profound realm. Wasn't this gap a little too big? "You could say that." Sui nodded, feeling that the bald chicken in front of him was not simple. However, Sui knew that. He just hadn't expected the soul controller's strength to exceed his expectations. To be able to heavily injure the diamond demonic lizard was something that Sui hadn't expected. What Sui didn't know was that in terms of strength as a soul controller, he was indeed far superior to other soul controllers of the same level. However, it wasn't easy for him to take on the diamond demonic lizard head-on. However, the diamond demonic lizard was already injured and it was unable to hold back its anger. Due to its carelessness, it suffered a heavy injury to its soul. Subsequently, Sui took advantage of the situation and killed it with his yuan soldiers before its soul could recover. Seeing Sui nodding his head, the bald chicken's eyes revealed a touch of shock. It curled its lips and said, "Not bad, young man." The fire-eyed barbaric tiger, silver spirit demonic butterfly, and the others were shocked when they saw that Sui had actually killed a 6th-level demon profound realm diamond demonic lizard by himself. However, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the others weren't too surprised. They were already used to it. "Awo, Guji!" The beast's roar was like thunder, piercing through the clouds. It seemed like the commotion here had attracted many barbaric demonic beasts. "Awo!" The earth shook and the mountains shook. Many barbaric demonic beasts were rushing over. The ferocious birds in the sky flapped their wings and covered the sky like dark clouds. "Lord!" The silver spirit demonic butterfly, fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the others were secretly moved as they looked at Sui. These barbaric demonic beasts seemed to be looking for humans. "I'll make a move first. You guys sneak in and find out what's going on." As soon as Sui finished his words, he immediately left. There were barbaric demonic beasts everywhere. There was probably no lack of barbaric demonic beasts among them. The fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the others were only in the demon spirit realm. They weren't strong enough to deal with them. Not to mention that once they made a move, more barbaric demonic beasts would be attracted. "Wait for me," the bald chicken said. It immediately followed behind Sui with its tail between its legs. Sui didn't go far and returned to the cave he was in earlier. The cave was hidden and the fire-eyed barbaric tiger was waiting outside. It should be able to block the barbaric demonic beasts that were attracted. Inside the cave, Sui looked at the bald chicken and fixed his gaze on its furless body. He said, "You're out of danger. You can leave now. I'm not familiar with the outside world, and I can't remember everything. You seem like a good young man. Why don't I follow you?" The bald chicken hesitated for a while before looking at Sui. It was very serious and didn't seem to be joking. Sui stared at the bald chicken in shock and asked, "You want to follow me?" "Not bad. I think you're not bad," the bald chicken said. "I can't even protect myself." Sui rolled his eyes at the bald chicken. He couldn't even protect himself and had to hide. If he had to bring this bald chicken along, it would be even more difficult. Moreover, he wasn't familiar with the bald chicken's background. If it followed him, it would be inconvenient and he wouldn't feel at ease. "You don't seem to need your protection, do you? With your meager strength, you can't even deal with that crazy woman." The bald chicken stared at Sui with its beady eyes, its face filled with disdain. Sui wanted to say something, but hesitated. He didn't know what to say. From the way the bald chicken fought with Mou, it seemed that he really couldn't protect this bald chicken. This bald chicken seemed unreliable, but there were many things about it that weren't so simple. "You'd better go," Sui waved his hand. No matter what, keeping such a mysterious bald chicken by his side was an extremely unreliable thing to do. "Aren't you afraid that I'll go find that big snake and say that you stole its eggs?" The bald chicken looked at Sui and said indifferently. Its short wings flapped slightly, and the threatening look in its eyes was undisguised. "Don't forget that the blazing sky flood dragon's eggs were already taken by that woman," Sui said to the bald chicken. "When the time comes, you can explain to that big snake and see if it believes you," the bald chicken said nonchalantly. "You're threatening me." Sui's eyes darkened. He never thought that there would be a day when he would be threatened by a bald chicken. Chapter 181. Those barbaric beasts aren't simple. However, my cultivation has regressed and I'm afraid that I won't be able to fight against those barbaric beasts. However, I'm afraid that those barbaric beasts won't be able to trap me. Once I leave, I'll tell that snake that you took its egg. I'm afraid that even if it chases you to the ends of the earth, it won't let you go," the bald chicken said to Sui. Sui was a little stunned. He didn't think that this bald chicken would be able to threaten him. This bald chicken isn't simple. Its origin is mysterious. Sui knew about it. However, from the bald chicken's situation, Sui didn't completely believe that the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the others wouldn't be able to deal with this bald chicken. However, Sui was secretly worried that this bald chicken might have something to rely on. "Give me a reason for me to believe you. Otherwise, we'll just go our separate ways," Sui said to the bald chicken. Although he was afraid of being chased by the blazing sky flood dragon, bringing this bald chicken with an unknown origin was like a ticking time bomb. It was still dangerous. "I don't have any ill intentions towards you. I really don't know where to go. Looking at you, you seem to be quite fun. So I'll follow you." The bald chicken flapped its pair of short wings, pretending to be an old man. It looked at Sui and said, "When I recover one day, maybe I'll give you a few treasures and let you become an expert in this world. This isn't impossible. How about it? Are you tempted? Treasures? If you have the ability, give it to me now and I'll believe you." Sui looked at the bald chicken and said, "If it really is the legendary peacock, then it probably has a few treasures. I already said that I don't remember anything. How can I have any treasures?" The bald chicken rolled its eyes at Sui. Sui pondered. It seemed that this bald chicken was determined to follow him. He couldn't get rid of it even if he wanted to, but he couldn't be at ease if it followed him. Suddenly, Sui's eyes lit up. He looked at the bald chicken and said, "If you want to come with me, that's fine. But to be at ease, I have a suggestion. If you agree, then we'll go together. If not, then we'll go our separate ways." "Go ahead." The bald chicken looked curiously at Sui. "Let us become sworn brothers and swear an oath of blood." Sui chuckled. In this world, oaths seem to be very important, especially for cultivators. Rumor had it that once an oath was broken, it was very likely that they would suffer a calamity. Becoming sworn brothers seems like a good idea. The bald chicken's small eyes immediately lit up. "I've lived for a long time," it said. "I'll reluctantly accept. From now on, I'll be your peacock brother, and from now on, you'll be my human little brother." The bald chicken agreed without hesitation. Sui was a bit surprised. Sui originally thought that if he became sworn brothers with this bald chicken, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. At the very least, he could be sure that this bald chicken wasn't simple. Perhaps in the future, it would really have a chance to become strong. "No. You say you're a peacock, but there's no way to prove it." Sui's eyes flickered and he smiled. Then he turned to the bald chicken and said, "On the path of cultivation, the stronger one takes precedence. How about this, let's exchange some pointers. You're not allowed to dodge. If you win, you'll be the big brother. If you lose, I'll be the big brother. It'll be the same in the future, whoever is stronger will be the big brother. What do you think? I'm the Grand Peacock. To be able to become sworn brothers with you is already 18 generations of your ancestors burning incense. It's like smoke rising from your ancestors' grave. How could I call you big brother?" The bald chicken looked at Sui and raised its small head. "In the path of cultivation, the one who reaches the top takes precedence," Sui said. The bald chicken's small eyes looked around. It knew that it couldn't insist, so it nodded and said, "That's fine too. Now, do you want to compare notes?" Sui said. He secretly observed the bald chicken's reaction. He wanted to take this opportunity to test the bald chicken's true strength. Although the bald chicken and Mou had fought before, Sui saw it with his own eyes. However, the bald chicken had been hiding all this time. They didn't really fight. "Forget it for now." The bald chicken shook its head and looked at Sui. It said, "I can endure letting you be the big brother for a few days. After all, you won't have the chance to be the big brother anymore. As your big brother in the future, I'll take good care of you and let you have a taste of being the big brother first." Sui heard this and could only roll his eyes at the bald chicken. A moment later, inside the cave, a man and a chicken respectfully knelt on the ground outside the cave. "I still don't know your name." Sui looked to the side and asked the bald chicken. Sui raised his eyebrows and looked at the bald chicken next to him. Thinking about becoming sworn brothers with a bald chicken, Sui couldn't help but feel a sense of regret. "My brother is a chicken. If this spread out, I'm afraid it wouldn't be very good. I also forgot my name." The bald chicken shook its head. "Then I'll give you a name. You have no hair on your body, so how about we call you Featherless?" Sui said. "You're the featherless one. Your whole body is featherless." The bald chicken rolled its eyes. "You came out of a volcano so you can spit fire, right? How about we call you Fire Baby? If you spit fire, then you'll be called Fire Baby. If you spit saliva, then you'll be called Saliva Baby. You look like a chicken. Your head and claws are golden. How about we call you Golden Chicken?" Why does it sound so awkward? Do you have a better name? Then you name it yourself. I'm a peacock. Let's call me Sky Raising Sparrow. The bald chicken said. Its small eyes seemed to twinkle. My name is Sui. How about this? You're now my sworn brother. Let's call you Su Tianke. Sui helplessly rolled his eyes at the bald chicken. Sky Raising Sparrow, this bald chicken's name was quite good. A bald chicken's name was Sky Raising Sparrow. If people knew that a bald chicken was called Sky Raising Sparrow, they wouldn't be able to stop themselves from laughing their heads off. Su Tianke. Fine, Su Tianke it is. The bald chicken nodded. It seemed like it didn't have much of an opinion. I, Su E, sky-raising sparrow, Su Tianke, become sworn brothers today. I don't ask to be born in the same year, month, and day, but I ask to die in the same year, month, and day. I will share riches and hardships together. If I violate this oath, may the heavens strike me with lightning, may the heavens destroy me, and may the heavens and earth not tolerate me. After saying that, Sui looked at the bald chicken and said, Your turn. The bald chicken looked at Sui. It seemed like it didn't expect Sui to make such a fierce oath. It rolled its eyes and repeated it word for word. Dong 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 dong. One man and one chicken respectfully kowtowed a few times before standing up. Chapter 182. Su Tianke stood up. His small eyes rolled around as if he finally understood. He said, I am a peacock, the king of the demon clan. My lifespan is long. I will die in the same year, month, and day. If you die, won't you implicate me? Faster WB, faster WB, faster J. I am afraid that you will be stewed into chicken soup. Su-E was speechless. This guy really thought of himself as a peacock. However, Su-E felt that this vow was not a problem. The demon clan's barbaric demon beasts have a much longer lifespan than humans. Even for cultivators of the same level, such as a profound demon realm barbaric demon beast and a profound origin realm human warrior, the barbaric demon beast's lifespan is much longer. Awu Lord. Outside the cave, the scarlet fire demonic Martin and the others had already returned. Lord, we have already found out the news. Immediately, Su-E understood the situation from the silver spirit demonic butterfly. There are barbaric demon beasts everywhere outside. As expected, it is related to the blazing sky flood dragon. According to the information obtained by the silver spirit demonic butterfly, the blazing sky flood dragon was originally the king of the great barbaric demon canyon. After he stepped into the demon emperor realm, he became the demon king of the great barbaric demon canyon. He gave the order to search for all humans in the great barbaric demon canyon and kill them all. All of the barbaric demon beasts in the great barbaric demon canyon were mobilized, including many demon illusionary realm barbaric demon beasts. This army of barbaric demon beasts is searching for humans on a large scale. Once they see a human, they will not show any mercy. The blazing sky flood dragon is going crazy. After receiving this news, Su-E did not find it strange. This is definitely related to the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. When Qing Jian and the others from the Mad Dragon Mercenary Alliance fought with the blazing sky flood dragon and discovered that the egg was missing, they naturally blamed it on Qing Jian and the others. Su-E guessed that Qing Jian and the others must have escaped in the end. Therefore, the blazing sky flood dragon gave the order to search for humans and kill them all. Lord, it is said that the blazing sky flood dragon is preparing to undergo the form transformation tribulation, the fiery demonic tiger said. Form transformation tribulation. Su-Yi's eyes lit up. Regardless of whether they were spiritual creatures or barbaric beasts, when they reached the demonic illusionary realm, they would have to undergo the cardinal tribulation. When they reached the demonic emperor realm, they would have to undergo the even more terrifying transformation tribulation. If a barbaric beast could successfully pass the transformation tribulation, it would be able to transform into a human form in the future. It would be no different from a human. It was said that among all the living beings in the world, humans were the most suitable for cultivation. Even though savage beasts and spiritual beings had long lifespans, a demonic soul realm savage beast could live up to 200 years old before it ran out of energy. Some might even live longer than that. But if it was an essence soul realm martial artist, at most, He would be around 150 years old before the end of his lifespan. The heavens were fair to all living beings. Therefore, humans were more suitable for cultivation. The experts of the demon clan all hoped to pass the shape-shifting tribulation so that they could take human form. Although their cultivation speed would still be slower than that of a real human, it would be much faster than their original cultivation speed. "My lord, what should we do now?" asked the Hellrat. According to the information they received, the great barbaric demon canyon was filled with barbaric beasts. There was no lack of experts among the barbaric beasts. They wouldn't let any humans go. Sui also frowned. Based on the current situation, even leaving the great barbaric demon canyon would be equally dangerous. According to the information Sui just received, the army of barbaric beasts was mostly rushing towards the exit of the great barbaric demon canyon. The closer they were to the exit of the great barbaric demon canyon, the more humans there were. There were fewer humans who dared to enter the depths of the great barbaric demon canyon. The blazing sky flood dragon is undergoing the transformation tribulation, Sui pondered, pondering. This was indeed troublesome. In the end, he didn't get the blazing sky flood dragon's egg. He didn't expect that he wouldn't be able to escape now. With his strength, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the others, it wouldn't be a problem to deal with a few small barbaric beasts. But now, all the barbaric beasts in the great barbaric demon canyon had been mobilized. That big snake is probably enraged. Once it successfully passes the form transformation tribulation, it will definitely take revenge. Su Tianke raised his head as if he didn't care much. How far is this place from the barbaric demon forest? After a moment, Sui asked the silver spirit butterfly and the others. It shouldn't be far. After crossing the canyon, we will reach the barbaric demon forest, said the silver spirit butterfly. Hearing this, Suyi's lips curled into a smile. Then let's go to the barbaric demon forest. Barbaric demon forest. Hearing Suyi's words, the Hellrat and the others were astonished. There were barbaric beasts everywhere looking for humans. There were even more barbaric beasts in the barbaric demon forest. When they saw humans, even without the demon emperor's orders, they wouldn't let them go. That's right, let's go to the barbaric demon forest. Didn't you guys always want to go there? Sui was very sure that the blazing sky flood dragon ordered the barbaric beasts to attack humans at the entrance of the barbaric demon canyon. Once the blazing sky flood dragon passed the form transformation tribulation, it would personally take action. At that time, it would probably be even more violent. At this moment, they were already at the barbaric demon canyon. There wasn't much difference between going to the barbaric demon forest and going to the barbaric demon canyon. Moreover, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, the silver spirit butterfly, the hell rat, and the golden python had always wanted to go to the barbaric demon forest. That place was a paradise for barbaric beasts. It was the best place for them to train and grow. My lord, do you really want to go to the barbaric demon forest? You are a human. The scarlet fire demon mink's eyes flickered like flames. It was surprised by Suyi's decision. The silver spirit butterfly and the others were also very surprised. Although they all wanted to go to the barbaric demon forest to train, their lord was a human. Going deep into the barbaric demon canyon was already very dangerous. Now they were in a dilemma. If they went to the barbaric demon forest, it would be even more dangerous. As the scarlet fire demon mink finished speaking, Suyi's eyes slightly moved. Boom! Suddenly, Suyi's robe fluttered. A domineering and majestic aura surged from his body. When the aura surged, the golden python, the silver spirit butterfly, and the others who were already used to it couldn't help but tremble instinctively. Their eyes flickered with light. As Su Tianke seemed to have sensed something as well. He stared at Sui with his beady eyes and his expression changed drastically. After circulating the Origin Supreme technique and releasing his aura, Sui immediately withdrew it. He looked at the silver spirit butterfly, the white jade mystic bird, and the others and asked, "If that's the case, do I still look like a human?" "My lord, the aura on your body was very strong. It didn't seem like it came from a human. It would naturally suppress us. It was more like it came from a demon expert." The white jade mystic bird shook its head and said to Sui, "The domineering aura on its lord didn't seem like a human at all. It was more like a demon expert." "That's enough. When I recover, I will go to the barbaric demon forest." Sui looked up. His face was as pale as ash, but his eyes were resolute. It was just going to the barbaric demon forest. He could continue training. What he lacked now was strength. Chapter 183. The Great Barbaric Demon Canyon stretched for tens of thousands of miles. It was as if there was no end to it. The majestic mountain range formed a canyon that stretched endlessly. Occasionally there would be dense forest. Those ancient towering trees were astonishing. The treetops reached into the sky and were hundreds of feet tall. They were like giant umbrellas, and their size was comparable to some giant mountains. On the towering trees there were vines entwined. They were like ancient horned dragons that had experienced the vicissitudes of life. Awoo! In the forest, the barbaric beasts were rioting. Many barbaric beasts appeared from all directions. They were everywhere in the sky and on the ground. Some barbaric beasts even drilled out from the ground. "Oh no, why are there so many barbaric beasts? What's going on? Retreat, quick!" A large group of mercenaries was trapped. Their expressions changed drastically, and their eyes were filled with shock. Screeching sounds came from mid-air. Several powerful ferocious beasts swooped down and spread their wings. Their claws were like hooks, and their bodies flickered with light. Their auras were sharp and bloody. They tore a few people into pieces on the spot, and blood splattered all over the ground. Awoo! Some of the barbaric beasts were huge. When their claws fell, it was as if they were pillars from the sky. They instantly crushed people into meat paste. Swish! There were also barbaric beasts that drilled out from the ground. They were swift and violent. They opened their bloody mouths and swallowed people in one gulp. Such a bloody and violent scene immediately made people's hair stand on end. "Run, quick!" the mercenaries shouted. They did not dare to continue fighting and quickly fled. However, it was too difficult to escape. There were barbaric beasts everywhere. Awoo! The beasts' roars were like thunder, rising and falling continuously in the forest and the canyon. There were even more barbaric beasts coming from afar. Those barbaric beasts had all been mobilized. The entire forest was in chaos. Countless barbaric beasts charged forward. It was like a beast tide that destroyed everything in its path. In the sky, all kinds of ferocious beasts flew. They had hook-like claws and sharp beaks. They covered the sky and covered the earth. When they saw humans, they would immediately hunt them down. Run! No one dared to resist. They abandoned the corpses of their companions and wished that they had more legs. Some of them were able to materialize their primordial chi and fly into the air, but they were immediately slapped down by the ferocious birds and savage beasts. The mercenary groups that dared to enter the Great Barbaric Demon Canyon were all not simple people. At the very least, they would have someone with decent cultivation leading them. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to enter. But now, in the face of such a beast tide, perhaps even an Origin Void stage cultivator could only turn around and flee. What exactly is going on? Why did all of the barbaric beasts in the Great Barbaric Canyon come out? Someone's face paled and his entire body trembled. There were also people who had fled far away, thinking that they were safe. Suddenly, many pythons, scaly beasts, and other wild beasts crawled out from the ground. They opened their bloody mouths and swallowed people alive. The sound of bones cracking could be heard from the mouths of the barbaric beasts. Square root 7 foot DW. Then, fresh blood flowed out from that bloody mouth. It was incomparably bloody. What happened in the great barbaric demon canyon? Some people didn't know what was going on. Their bodies were shivering and their faces were pale. They had never heard of such a situation happening in the Great Barbarian Beast Canyon. From the Great Barbarian Demon Canyon to the entrance, the beast tide surged violently. Hordes of barbaric demonic beasts rushed out in a frenzy, slaughtering the humans. The smell of blood assailed their nostrils. Although several days had passed since the eruption of the volcano, the volcanic ash was still rolling and magma was still flowing out endlessly. The aura in the surroundings was blazing hot. There were endless raging flames. The temperature in the surroundings was frightening, as if a sea of fire was boiling. Wild Dragon Mercenary Alliance, I'm not done with you. This enmity is absolutely irreconcilable. At this moment, an enormous flood dragon was swimming in the surging magma. It raised its head and its bell-like fierce eyes were as resplendent as the sun. It seemed as if it contained a volcano. Blazing Flood Dragon Emperor, our wolf cubs saw that when the incident happened, there was a young man and a young woman. There's a chance that the young man and woman are still alive. An enormous barbarian frost wolf appeared in the air. Its entire body was emitting an icy aura. It was the Wolf King of the barbarian frost wolves. Those humans must know something. Find them for me. We must find those two humans. When the blazing flood dragon heard this, a blazing light surged out from its fierce eyes. It was as if a raging flame was burning endlessly. In a hidden cave, Su-Yi sat cross-legged. With the help of the elixir, his pale face had become rosy. The vitality in his body was abundant. There was a faint sound like the airflow, like the wind and thunder. After a moment, Su-Yi withdrew his hand seal. The light on his body gradually dissipated. As he exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, his eyes shook open. The light in his eyes was resplendent. Then, it was restrained and turned into deep tenacity. Feeling the situation in his body, Su-Yi narrowed his eyes slightly. A faint smile appeared on his face. What kind of cultivation technique are you practicing? It seems to be a little complicated. Su-Tianke shook its small head and tucked its tail between its legs. It moved closer to Su-Yi. It had been staring at Su-Yi for a long time. It felt the aura emanating from Su-Yi's body. This aura made its heart throb inexplicably. At this moment, Su-Tianke felt strange. This aura did not seem to appear on a human. Of course, the cultivation technique I practice is not simple. Su-Yi stood up and stretched. His joints crackled and popped. It was very comfortable. It seems a little mysterious. Su-Tianke shook its head. Although it was curious, it did not ask any more questions. Sir. The silver spirit butterfly, Debao, Xiaoling, and the others all came closer. Let's go. Su-Yi smiled faintly, the corners of his mouth curled up, a light flashing in his determined eyes. In this world where the strong preyed on the weak, strength reigned supreme. Only by working hard to become strong could one establish a foothold in this world. After a moment, a handsome young man with shoulder-length hair and a sword on his back walked out of the cave. His figure was thin, but it could not hide the arrogance in his bones. A day later, a group of more than 10 savage beasts appeared in front of Su-Yi, Su-Tianke, and the Golden Python. Woo-woo! The Blazing Dragon Emperor has already given the order to kill every human on sight. Why are there humans here? This group of savage beasts was led by 3 savage-looking savage hunting boars. They looked ferocious, but they were extremely strong. 2 long and 2 short tusks protruded from their mouth. This is not a human. This is a demon emperor. Why aren't you surrendering? The fiery-eyed savage tiger roared in beast language. Its tiger roar shook the surroundings. Chapter 184. Demon Emperor. Numerous gazes instantly descended onto Su-yi. The gazes of the 3 savage hunting boars trembled fiercely as they revealed shocked expressions. Among the savage beasts, they had a clear position and strength was the most important. They had no choice but to submit when they met a demon emperor. But soon after, the astonished gazes of the 3 hunting barbarian boars revealed doubtful expressions. They hadn't seen such a young demon emperor before. Judging from his aura, he didn't seem like a savage beast. The 3 savage hunting boars were puzzled and hesitant. I wonder which demon emperor is here so we can inform the blazing dragon emperor. One of the savage hunting boars spoke to Su-yi in beast language. This was also a test. If it was a human, they wouldn't be able to understand beast language. Oj Moto Unspecified Currency D New V4 Chapter A Section ZF Sway / You don't have the right to know who I am. Su-yi spoke with a faint voice and a stern expression. Seeing that Su-yi was actually able to understand the language of the beasts, the 3 savage hunting boars were once again astonished. Humans usually didn't understand the language of the beast. Emperor, it's the Blazing Dragon Emperor's order to not let any human go. If a demon emperor is here, please tell us your name so we can inform the Blazing Dragon Emperor. The savage hunting boar spoke again. Back off or we'll kill without mercy. Su-yi's eyes darkened as a chill flashed through his eyes. Naturally, he couldn't alarm the Blazing Dragon Emperor. On this day, Su-yi's group encountered many savage beasts on the way. Some savage beasts were scared away by Su-yi's Origin Supreme technique. Some savage beasts were also killed by Su-yi's group as a form of training. The fire-eyed savage tigers, silver spirit butterflies, and golden pythons also needed real training. Emperor, the savage beast Grand Canyon is the Blazing Dragon Emperor's territory. If other emperors come, we must let the Blazing Dragon Emperor know. Otherwise, it will anger the Blazing Dragon Emperor. The savage hunting boars gritted their teeth and looked ferocious. They submitted to the Blazing Dragon Emperor and had a demon emperor behind them. Roar! Kill! The fiery-eyed barbaric tiger couldn't hold its temper any longer. It let out a thunderous roar that shook the forest and sent sand and pebbles flying. Roar! The fire-eyed barbaric tiger fiercely leaped out and swooped down. It opened its bloody mouth and directly pounced out. Awo! The netherworld rat, snow jade savage ape, fiery savage bird, golden python, and the others also made their moves in an instant. Suddenly, all kinds of lights gushed out, causing the surrounding mountains to tremble. The group of barbarian beasts and hunting barbarian boars didn't expect the fire-eyed barbarian tiger and the others to attack. All of a sudden, some of the barbaric beasts were killed by the silver spirit demonic butterflies. The 3 leading savage hunting boars were also blocked by the golden python, the fire-eyed savage tiger, and the scarlet fire demon mink. Although the scarlet flame demon marten and the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger had yet to reach the 6th level of the demon spirit realm, they possessed an indescribably ferocious aura that seemed to come from ancient times. They were able to kill 2 6th-level origin spirit realm hunting barbarian boars without falling into a disadvantageous position. The golden python was also able to deal with the 7th-level origin spirit realm hunting barbarian boar. Whoosh! At this moment, Su-yi was already holding a yuan weapon saber in his hand. The original saber was already curled up. This saber was something he obtained from the blazing sky flood dragon's treasure. Kill! Su-yi made his move. The saber in his hand was infused with yuan qi, causing it to emit rays of light. Yuan weapons weren't ordinary weapons. The aura they gave off was frightening. Su-yi immediately picked a 2nd-level demon profound realm barbaric beast. Barbaric beasts generally had strong defense and powerful physique, surpassing human cultivators of the same level. Swish! Su-yi executed the sky-shaking 100 transformation steps. The saber in his hand was swift and fierce. With a raise of his hand, the barbaric beast was decapitated and fell to the ground. Awo! The other scaled barbaric beast was like a crocodile or a turtle as it launched a sneak attack on Su-Yi from the side. It swung its sharp claws that flickered with cold light. The energy it contained was frightening as it tried to tear Su-Yi apart. Whoosh! Su-Yi turned around. With lightning speed, the saber in his hand was like a crescent moon. It was as if it was going to cut through the void. Swish! The barbaric demonic beast's claw was instantly broken, and it let out a painful roar. Kill! Su-Yi's move was clean and efficient. He charged towards the horde of beasts. Yuan Qi surged from his body and flowed through his meridians like a torrent. Saber light flickered on his saber. As Su-Yi's saber fell, a barbaric beast was beheaded. How dare you bully me? You're courting death. Su Dian's voice was heard from the horde of beasts. Some of the barbaric beasts didn't even put Su Tianke in their eyes. They wanted to trample him under their feet, which made Su Tianke furious. Su Tianke flapped his short wings and dashed forward. Golden light flickered under his sharp claws. Wherever his claws passed, a barbaric beast that was about to reach the demon spirit realm had its stomach ripped open. Roar! A ferocious bird swooped down from the sky. It spread its wings and created a gust of wind. Its sharp claws were like rays of light that could cut through the void. It was a barbaric beast that had reached the first level of the demon spirit realm. Ouch! How dare a little bird be so impudent? Su Tianke was anxious. His fluffy wings flapped rapidly. Suddenly, a ray of light gushed out from his wings. The light was as bright and dazzling as the stars. When the light appeared, Su Dian's aura suddenly changed. It was as if he had become much stronger in an instant. Su Tianke didn't retreat. Instead, he charged forward and clashed with his claws. Clang! When the two claws collided, one big and one small, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. It shook the surrounding air. Swish! In a short moment, cracks appeared on the claws of the ferocious bird. Blood flowed out. Screech! The ferocious bird roared in anger. Its claws were severed, and blood splattered on the ground. Kill! Su Tianke didn't show any mercy. Light surged in his small eyes. His sharp claws were like hooks as they slashed across the neck of the ferocious bird. The body of the first-level demon spirit realm ferocious bird trembled. Its eyes were filled with unwillingness and fear. Then, it fell down and fell into a pool of blood. Whoosh! Su-Yi's saber light flashed. Blood burst out from the neck of a several feet long third-level demon profound realm brute demon beast. Its head and huge body fell down at the same time. Blood poured out like a small stream. The other barbaric beasts were also being swept away by the silver spirit butterfly, hell rat, blazing barbaric bird, white jade mystic bird, and snow jade barbaric ape. Instead, the battle between the three savage hunting boars, the golden python, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the scarlet demonic marten was in full swing. Strange. It doesn't seem to be their own method. Su Tianke felt a lot more relaxed. Although his aura had weakened after killing a demon spirit realm opponent, no other barbaric beast dared to provoke him. Su Tianke was surprised when he saw the golden python, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the others attacking. Chapter 185. This bloody battle didn't last long. Apart from the three savage hunting boars, the other savage beasts were of average strength and were no match for the white jade mystic bird and the blazing savage bird. When the savage beasts were almost finished, the white jade mystic bird and the silver spirit butterfly went to help the golden python and the blazing savage tiger. Woo! The three savage hunting boars roared angrily. From Su-Yi's attack, they already knew that he was not a real demon emperor. At this moment they were being suppressed and gradually suffered heavy injuries. Although the three savage hunting boars were extremely strong, they were still suppressed by the blazing savage tiger and the others and could not escape. The situation was getting worse and worse. Roar! The blazing savage tiger's roar shook the sky and pounced on its prey. Its huge tiger claws landed on the savage hunting boars. The barbarian hunting boar had just been heavily struck by the white jade mystic bird and wasn't able to dodge in time. Along with its body being struck by the tiger's claw, numerous wounds that were deep to the point bones could be seen were instantly torn open on its thick skin, causing blood to splatter as its body was directly flung flying. Bang! Along with a muffled bang, the savage hunting boar was flung away and smashed into a towering tree not far away. Numerous cracks appeared on the tree trunk, and the bark was blasted off like scales as it split open. The savage hunting boar lost its vitality and fell into a pool of blood. Woo-woo! Following that, the other two savage hunting boars were also killed by the golden python and the blazing savage mink. Su-yi leaped onto a huge rock. Yuan Qi surged from the soles of his feet as he leaped down from the rock. Then, he swung his Yuan Qi saber. Su-yi's figure left the sky for a short while. His aura was fierce and domineering as he instantly swooped down and appeared on the head of a huge scaled savage beast. This scaled savage beast was like a pangolin, but its appearance was much more ferocious. Its body was covered with thick scales and was surrounded by an icy aura. Su-yi's body appeared on top of the scaled demonic beast's head. The demonic beast raised its head and exhaled a breath that was as cold as ice. The profound energy in Su-yi's body was greatly affected, as if it was about to be frozen. This icy aura was not ordinary. Boom! Su-yi was already prepared for this. He had already sensed that the frost chi coming from this barbaric beast was not simple. The primordial origin supreme technique seemed to have the innate ability to counter all frost chi. He immediately circulated the primordial origin supreme technique along with his Yuan Qi. If there was a divine flame surging out from his body, it would immediately expel the frost Qi. Swish! At the same time, Su-yi slashed down with the saber in his hand. The saber light was accompanied by the sonorous sound of wind breaking. The Yuan weapon in Su-yi's hand shone brightly. At this moment, it seemed as if it had come alive. It formed a saber light that was almost materialized. It was gorgeous and fierce. It fiercely hacked at the head of the scaled demon beast. Chi-la-lav, the broadsword was like a bolt of lightning, carrying a domineering and fierce momentum. It was so fast that it didn't give the scaled demonic beast any time to react. The saber slashed directly at its head, shattering its hard scales and shattering its skull. Blood immediately spurted out. A fifth-rank demon profound realm barbaric beast was killed by Su-yi just like that. Su-yi landed on the ground and sheathed his saber. The surrounding barbaric beasts were all killed. "Clean it up," Su-yi said. There were some valuable items among the pile of barbaric beasts. Some of the fur, scales, and antennae of the barbaric beasts were enough to be used to refine weapons. Even the meat of these barbaric beasts was worth a lot in the outside world. Especially the meat of the demon spirit realm barbaric beast. If it was in the barbaric city, no ordinary family would be able to afford it. It was said that eating the meat of powerful barbaric beasts could increase one's cultivation. Soon, under the silver spirit butterfly's help, the valuable materials of the barbaric beasts were sorted out and kept in Su-yi's interspatial bag. At this moment, the sun was setting in the west. The mountains and valleys were shrouded in a golden radiance. The distant cliffs were covered in the sunset glow. The white clouds in the sky had turned bright red. "Let's find a place to rest. We'll continue our journey tomorrow morning," Su-yi said. There were barbaric beasts everywhere. In less than 2 days, they had already fought several waves of barbaric beasts and encountered even more groups of barbaric beasts. The fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the rest needed to rest. He had also consumed a lot of energy and was exhausted. When the sun set in the west and the sky was shrouded in darkness, Su-yi and the rest finally found a place to hide. It was a small valley in the deep valley. It was surrounded by towering trees and dragon-like vines. It was hard to spot. I'm exhausted. I need to rest for a while. Su Tianke had his tail between his legs and flapped his pair of short wings. Su Tianke, can I trust you? In the valley, Su Yi suddenly looked at Su Tianke and asked. Of course. We've already become sworn brothers. Su Tianke raised his eyebrows and looked at Su Yi curiously. 6K. I also hope that I can trust you. Su Yi nodded seriously. He didn't become sworn brothers with Su Tianke on a whim. He also didn't want Su Tianke to swear an oath. He also hoped that he could trust this bald chicken who claimed to be a peacock. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yi formed a complicated hand seal. The space between his eyebrows shone like a divine radiance, and the mysterious space was summoned. The light spread out like ripples of divine radiance, and covered Su Yi's entire body. The dazzling light was hazy, as if it was going to cover the entire valley. Fortunately, the surrounding area was covered by towering trees, blocking the light. When the fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the rest opened their eyes again, they were directly enveloped in the mysterious space. What is this place? When Su Tianke looked around the mysterious space, his aged face was filled with astonishment. His small, round eyes were filled with horror. There was an aura in this space that made his heart palpitate and uneasy. For no reason, he was filled with awe and wanted to crawl. He had forgotten too many things, but this awe grew from the bottom of his heart. The spiritual chi in the surrounding space was dense and oppressive. It was hazy and chaotic, emitting a faint light as if it was isolated from the space. Su Tianke looked around. His intuition told him that this was a treasure land. This place was extremely mysterious. It was a treasure. Where is this place? Su Tianke couldn't help but tremble. No wonder this young man was so extraordinary and gave him a strange feeling. It turned out that he had such a treasure on him. Everything about him must be inseparable from this place. I don't know where this place is, but cultivating here has the effect of doubling the effect with half the effort. Su Yi replied, hoping that he could trust Su Tianke. Chapter 186. Back then, Su Yi didn't want to travel with Su Tianke. After all, Su Yi was most worried that it would be inconvenient for him to use the mysterious space. Su Tianke was so shocked that he couldn't come back to his senses. From the moment he entered this space, he could feel that if he could cultivate here, he might be able to remember everything one day and return to his peak. Then, Su Tianke looked at Su Yi. A trace of seriousness flashed across his small eyes, leaving no trace behind. Su Tianke knew very well that this young man had absolute trust in him by bringing him in. Moreover, this young man had always been on guard against him. He never spoke much truth. This was true trust. Wow, is this the blood jasper ginseng? Why are there so many spiritual herbs? But soon, Su Tianke returned to his usual self. He saw the blood jasper ginseng and so many other spiritual herbs. His eyes lit up and he was about to drool. If you dare to touch them, I won't barbecue you, but I'll at least give you some blood to drink. If it's the blood of a real peacock, it should be a treasure too. Su Yi warned Su Tianke. He absolutely couldn't touch the blood jasper ginseng. He was really afraid that the featherless chicken would spoil his spiritual herbs. Gulp. Hearing this, Su Tianke swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He glanced at Su Yi and said, "Okay, I'll rest for a while." However, Su Tianke's gaze was still fixed on the blood jasper ginseng. He was reluctant to part with it. "Why did you bring in such an ugly chicken?" The blood jasper ginseng was startled. Its eyes opened and the lush leaves on its head spread out. It looked at Su Yi and was surprised when it saw Su Tianke. "Grandpa Ginseng, this," Su Yi smiled helplessly. Su Tianke really looked too much like a chicken, and an ugly one at that. "I'm a peacock." Su Tianke stared at the blood jasper ginseng. He couldn't stand being mistaken for a chicken. Peacock? How dare you say that? The blood jade spirit ginseng didn't believe it at all. Such a bald chicken didn't look like the legendary peacock. However, the blood jade spirit ginseng ignored Su Tianke and closed its eyes again. Blind radish! Seeing that the blood jasper spirit ginseng didn't care about him, Su Tianke was furious. However, there was nothing he could do, so he went to the side and closed his eyes to meditate. Debao and Xiao Ling stood on their mother's neck and stuck out their little heads. They stared at the blood jade spirit ginseng and secretly drooled. They had always wanted to eat the spirit whiskers and knew that they were treasures. The fire-eyed barbaric tiger and the others immediately began to cultivate. Su-yi, on the other hand, was not in a hurry. First, he checked the growth of the medicinal herbs. Then, he checked the various medicinal pills that he had stored in the mysterious space. He took out some medicinal pills and stored them on his body in case of an emergency. Then, he rested. After the blood jade spirit ginseng absorbed all the spirit liquid, there was no more spirit liquid being produced. The surrounding space had not changed at all since the last time it expanded. Su-yi didn't know if it was because the mysterious space was only so big or if there were other reasons. Su-yi pondered. He felt that the energy of heaven and earth in the mysterious space didn't weaken much, but it didn't increase either. Even before the primordial stones were swallowed, the energy in the mysterious space would slowly maintain a level of density. The mysterious space seemed to be quietly absorbing the energy of heaven and earth from the outside world. Others could absorb primordial stones to speed up their cultivation, but Su-yi knew that he couldn't. Once he absorbed primordial stones, the mysterious space would snatch them away. Therefore, if he wanted to speed up his cultivation, he could only rely on the mysterious space. The stronger the energy of heaven and earth in the mysterious space, the better it would be for his cultivation and the growth of the medicinal herbs. Su-yi still remembered that when the spirit liquid appeared in the small pit, the energy of heaven and earth in the mysterious space was at its densest. His cultivation speed at that time was also the fastest. Could it be? Su-yi pondered and his eyes lit up. He seemed to have thought of something. He immediately sat down cross-legged and took out an interspatial bag. Inside it were the tens of thousands of one-star primordial stones that he had lost from Mou. Su-yi gritted his teeth and opened the interspatial bag in his hand. With a thought, the primordial stones poured out. Boom! All of a sudden, the mysterious space trembled and affected the entire space. In an instant, a dazzling light flashed and bloomed. In the depths of the void, a dazzling light bloomed like a waterfall. Rumble, wind and thunder rumbled and a sonorous sound was deafening. A vast and majestic aura seemed to have transcended time and space. It made all living things palpitate and could suppress all living things. The fire-eyed barbaric tiger, Su Tianke, and the others were awakened by the vibration. The vast aura made them want to crawl. Even the blood jade spirit ginseng crawled out of the soil and knelt under the immense pressure. In front of Su-yi, the tilted primordial stones in the interspatial bag were instantly turned into powder in the mysterious space. At that moment, the primordial stones shone brightly like fireworks, but they disappeared in a flash and turned into powder. Rumble, the mysterious space was expanding in all directions. A hazy divine light rippled. When the light dissipated, the space expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye. Everything did not last long. It only took about a minute before the light disappeared and everything calmed down. The space, which was originally about 300 meters tall, had doubled in size. The energy of heaven and earth was rich. It expanded inside. Su Tianke was the first to look up. His small eyes were filled with shock and surprise. The mysterious space had expanded directly under his gaze. Su-yi opened his eyes and looked around. The space had expanded to about 300 meters. Although the energy of heaven and earth had increased by a lot, there was no spiritual liquid in the small pit in the center. It seemed that the energy of heaven and earth was not at its densest yet. Su-yi originally thought that the expansion of the mysterious space and the density of the energy of heaven and earth were related to his cultivation and the amount of primordial stones he absorbed. The mysterious space did not expand the last time he broke through to the profound origin stage. Perhaps the energy of heaven and earth in the space had been mostly absorbed by him at that time. Therefore, Su-yi decided to try using primordial stones. Just as Su-yi expected, the mysterious space had expanded. However, so many primordial stones only expanded the space. This made Su-yi's heart ache. You can't trap the wolf without sacrificing the child. His eyes flickered and then became determined. Su-yi gritted his teeth and took out a few more interspatial bags. With a thought, Su-yi opened the interspatial bags. $1 rumble. Chapter 187. As far as the naked eye could see, the entire space rippled with divine radiance once again as it continued to expand. Above the sky, there were rays of light descending like divine chains, enveloping the entire space. That majestic aura suppressed all living beings, as if it had surpassed the ancient times. Awu, the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the blazing barbaric bird, could not help but roar. They prostrated themselves on the ground, as if they were worshipping something. This time, the commotion was even more intense, and it lasted even longer. When everything calmed down, Su-yi opened his eyes again. The origin stone powder in front of him had already piled up into a small mountain, and his eyes were filled with astonishment. At this moment, Su-yi could see that the space had expanded from more than 3,000 feet to 5,000 feet. It was already quite spacious. What rich energy of heaven and earth! Su-yi was shocked. At this moment, the energy in the space had once again reached a frighteningly rich level. In this space with a radius of several thousand feet, the energy of heaven and earth was dense and oppressive. The surroundings were hazy and emitted a faint glow. In the space of 5,000 feet, the soil on the ground was filled with mist. It did not dissipate for a long time and floated in the air. The drifting mist seemed to be materialized energy. Phew, Su-yi took a deep breath. He felt as if he was directly absorbing the energy. I didn't waste so many origin stones. Su-yi's eyes were filled with joy. He could feel that the energy and space in the mysterious space had increased once again. Finally, the origin stones he obtained from the blazing sky dragon's nest were not wasted. He suppressed the joy in his heart. This space had expanded once again. It could grow more herbs and integrate more living beings. Spiritual liquid, there's more. Su-yi went to the center of the space and saw that on top of the hill, there was a small hole that had a diameter of about 5 feet. It had expanded quite a bit and was now the size of a small pond. The pool was still bright and transparent, but at this moment, a thin layer of crystal-clear liquid overflowed from it. Spiritual liquid, Su-yi was overjoyed. This was the spiritual liquid. The spiritual liquid had been wasted by the blood jade spirit ginseng, and now, some had finally appeared. This spiritual liquid was an absolute treasure. There's more spiritual liquid. It was unknown when the blood jade spirit ginseng had arrived, but when it saw the spirit liquid appear again, its eyes lit up. Grandpa Ginseng, you can't have any ideas. Su-yi directly grabbed the blood jade spirit ginseng. Last time, the blood jade spirit ginseng had wasted all the spiritual liquid. How about I take a little? The blood jade spirit ginseng's eyes lit up. It was very clear what kind of benefits this spiritual liquid would bring to it. No. Su-yi refused. He didn't trust the blood jade spirit ginseng at all. He couldn't let the blood jade spirit ginseng waste the spiritual liquid anymore. He also didn't have any primordial stones to be absorbed by the mysterious space. Let's talk about it. I want some. The blood jade spirit ginseng didn't give up. This spirit liquid was too important to it. Cuckoo, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, silver spirit demonic butterfly, hell rat, and the others also gathered around and stared at the spiritual liquid in the pond. Their throats were burning as they swallowed their saliva. This is definitely a treasure. Su Tianke tucked his tail between his legs. His beady eyes also shone brightly as he drooled over the spiritual liquid. Su-yi felt helpless. He could guard against others, but looking at Su Tianke and the blood jade spirit ginseng, he was afraid he wouldn't be able to. In the end, Su-yi and the blood jade spirit ginseng came to an agreement. He would exchange 2 of its roots for a small bottle of spiritual liquid for it to absorb. As for the other root, Su-yi took out one and split it in half for Debao and Little Ling. The root contained a lot of energy, so Su-yi didn't dare to let Debao and Little Ling consume too much. As for the rest of the spiritual liquid, he gave a small bottle each to the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, silver spirit demonic butterfly, and hell rat to increase their strength. As for Su Tianke, he naturally didn't forget about it. Su Tianke had promised Su-yi that he wouldn't steal the spiritual liquid. Su-yi also gave him a bottle before he happily ran to the side to consume it. There wasn't much spiritual liquid left to begin with, and now that Su-yi had distributed it to everyone, there wasn't much left. Looking at the remaining spiritual liquid, Su-yi's eyes lit up. The last time he consumed the spiritual liquid was when he was in the essence soul realm. Now that he was in the profound origin realm, he could consume it again. The most important thing was to increase his cultivation as soon as possible. Su-yi took out a bottle of spiritual liquid from the pool. It was slightly more than the last time. He sat down cross-legged beside the pool and drank it in one gulp. The spiritual liquid was cool and refreshing as it entered his mouth. It flowed down Su-yi's throat like a sweet spring. In an instant, it turned into a huge amount of energy that directly impacted Su-yi's body. Su-yi had already experienced the feeling of the spiritual liquid's impact last time, so he was prepared. However, his body still trembled as a huge amount of energy exploded in his body like a bomb. Walala, suddenly, a surge of energy gushed out from Su-yi's body from inside out. A pure white light shone brightly and instantly enveloped his entire body. Sunis square root, on cool craftsman. In just an instant, the liquid had turned into a surge of energy in Su-yi's body, gushing out in all directions. Refine. Su-yi clenched his teeth and revolved the primordial origin supreme technique. He began to refine the surging energy. Walala, surging energy surged within his body. As Su-yi circulated the origin supreme art, he began to absorb and refine the energy. According to the operation of the primordial origin supreme art, this energy flowed through Su-yi's meridians and was tempered. Then, it slowly turned into pure yuan qi and poured into the yuan qi vortex. Within Su-yi's dantian yuan qi vortex, as wisps of pure yuan qi poured in, it began to slowly rotate, faintly emitting a clanging sound. As time passed, Su-yi's pale face gradually regained its color. Wisps of yuan qi poured into the yuan qi vortex in his dantian. After a few hours, Su-yi's aura had not only completely recovered, but also began to rise. In the spacious mysterious space, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, Su Tianke, blood jade spirit ginseng, and the others were all enveloped in a layer of dazzling light. Their auras were fluctuating. Even Debao and Xiao Ling were enveloped in the light. They finally got what they wanted and ate the blood jade spirit ginseng's whiskers. The energy was definitely huge for them. The continuous mountain range was boundless. Mountain peaks rose from the ground like jade bamboo shoots and jade hairpins, towering into the horizon. Towering trees were densely packed, and there were winding rivers among the thousands of peaks. It was a beautiful and majestic sight. In a vast canyon, there was a continuous mountain ridge and steep slope. Together with the dark green peaks in the distance, it formed a moving landscape painting. A group of 4 figures appeared. They were actually 4 17 or 18-year-old youth. There were 3 boys and 1 girl, but the girl seemed to be a few years older than the 3 youths. Chapter 188. Her black hair was tied up into a beautiful bun. The young girl wore a pale yellow robe with a low neckline. Her chest was wrapped in a pale yellow brocade, outlining her towering figure. She had a slim waist and long legs. Her figure was graceful and charming. The 3 youths were about the same age, around 16 or 17 years old. They were all dressed in neat and tidy robes. Their temperament was not bad and they were all very handsome. At this moment, the 4 of them seemed to be in a sorry state. They were very cautious, as though they were constantly on guard against something and didn't dare to be careless. I wonder how the other teams are doing. We haven't gained anything yet. One of the youths had a grave expression and a worried expression as he muttered, "We can't lose. Otherwise, Shiwei will. We definitely won't lose. The great barbaric demon canyon is right in front of us. The barbaric demon beasts there are relatively weaker." The young girl spoke. Her eyes were bright and moving. She pretended to be relaxed, but there was a trace of gloom on her brows. "That's right, we might not necessarily lose. Big Sister Shiwei is already at the 4th level of the Yuan Profound Realm. There's also Big Brother Qinfeng and the others. We have a very high chance of winning." The second youth spoke with great confidence. "As long as we can win the first round, our chances of winning will be even higher." The third youth spoke with more confidence. "Be careful." The young girl spoke. Walala, within the mysterious space, Su Yi's aura continued to rise. Sensing this change, Su Yi was overjoyed. He circulated the Origin Supreme technique and refined the pure Yuan Qi from the spiritual liquid into the Yuan Qi whirlpool in his dantian. At this moment, the Yuan Qi whirlpool in Su Yi's dantian was spinning faster and faster. It was as though a storm was forming as it let out a deep rumbling sound, like the sonorous sound of wind and thunder. Finally, a bang sound came from Su Yi's dantian. The Yuan Qi whirlpool in his dantian suddenly came to a standstill before it exploded and turned into a vacuum. Walala, in just an instant, the Yuan Qi whirlpool spun in reverse once again and violently surged in, causing the Yuan Qi whirlpool in his dantian to more than double. Along with the energy of heaven and earth, it surged madly towards his body. In an instant, it turned into Origin Qi and compressed in Su Yi's dantian Qi Si, crazily filling the Origin Qi vortex. At this moment, the Yuan Qi Si in Su Yi's body suddenly became incomparably violent, surging with astonishing momentum. Su Yi's aura also instantly reached a new level. This kind of carefree feeling was incomparable. Walala, the violent and rich energy of heaven and earth was still pouring in, as if it was endless. It only calmed down when the remaining energy of the spiritual liquid in Su Yi's body was completely suppressed. Everything calmed down, and the light on Su Yi's body disappeared. Whoosh! Su Yi's eyelashes moved slightly and he immediately opened his eyes. A dazzling light shot out from his eyes and disappeared in a flash. Boom! At the same time, Su Yi's clothes and long hair began to flutter without any wind. A powerful and vigorous aura seemed to have been awakened from within his body as it swept out, bringing with it an enormous might and destruction. His aura and the light in his eyes immediately calmed down. As his aura dissipated, the light in his eyes once again became firm and deep. Second layer Yuan Profound Stage. As he felt the change in his aura, Su Yi's lips curled into a smile. The aura on his body had reached the second layer Yuan Profound Stage. The enormous amount of energy that the spiritual liquid had transformed into was astonishing. It had even forcefully broken through to the mid-second layer Yuan Profound Stage. His flesh, blood, bones, meridians, and internal organs seemed to have been refined once again and strengthened by quite a bit. Sui could feel that the spiritual force in his mind had also improved. Previously, he had already felt that the spiritual liquid was extremely beneficial to spiritual force. Huff, letting out a long breath, Sui wore a smile on his face. He wasn't surprised by this outcome, as the spiritual liquid was a treasure to begin with. Looking around, he noticed that the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger and the silver spirit demonic butterfly's refining speed wasn't as fast as his. They were still refining the spiritual liquid. The blood jasper spirit ginseng had taken root in the soil, and its entire body was glowing with a green-red light. It was also immersed in a strange state and emitted an alluring fragrance. Good treasure, truly a good treasure, a clear and melodious voice entered his ears along with a blazing aura. Sui immediately followed the voice. Good treasure, truly a good treasure, as the clear and melodious voice entered his ears along with a blazing aura, Sui immediately followed the voice and looked over. As far as his eyes could see, Su Tianke, who was not far away, was wrapped in blazing flames. His short wings were flapping and his entire body was flowing with a scarlet gold radiance. Walala, the flames and light immediately receded, revealing Su Tianke. He had returned to his bald chicken form, but his small eyes were still sparkling and he looked very happy. Have you recovered, or have you remembered something? Sui stood up and asked Su Tianke. Not really, but this spiritual liquid is extraordinary. I feel that if you give me some more, I'll definitely be able to speed up my recovery. Maybe I'll even be able to remember some things from the past. Su Tianke's small eyes secretly moved, but his gaze was secretly sweeping across the pond. He seemed to be constantly thinking about the little spiritual liquid left. Don't even think about it. Sui's attitude was very firm. There wasn't much spiritual liquid left, so it was better to keep it with him in case he needed it. Sui had no choice but to bring Su Tianke out of the mysterious space out of fear that Su Tianke would try something funny. After all, the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, fiery bird, Debeo, Xiaoling, and the others were all fine in the mysterious space. We're already sworn brothers. Didn't we say that we'll share blessings together? In the deep valley, Su Tianke looked unhappy and wanted to drink more of the spiritual liquid. I shared the spiritual liquid with you. Isn't it your turn now? Sui rolled his eyes at Su Tianke. Don't worry. When I recover, I'll definitely take care of you. When the time comes, I'll let you eat and drink well. You'll be able to do whatever you want. Su Tianke said generously. Haha, Sui looked at Su Tianke and chuckled. What do you mean by that laugh? Don't you believe me? Hey, where are you going? Are you going to the savage demon forest? Wait for me. How did you break through again? You're so much faster now. One man and one chicken, their voices echoing, left the deep valley. Roar, the beast's roar was like thunder. On the messy mountaintop, towering trees were broken and boulders were shattered. Everywhere was a mess. A ferocious barbaric beast roared. It was 30 feet long, and its height alone was no less than 20 feet. Its entire body was covered in scales that were as thick as blades, and they were dark black in color. However, there was a golden mark on its head that resembled a lion or leopard. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.